Alright, so this is a commentary on the Nexus Diplomacy Tournament final with Ezio.
Hi, how are you doing?
So, in case you don't know what the Nexus, what the Diplomacy Nexus is, it's a Discord server which serves as a cross-site community. Has players from pretty much all the sites that I know of anyway: web diplomacy, v diplomacy, play diplomacy, backstabber, duplicity, conspiracy. So it's even got the apps in there. And every year they have a tournament, and this is the finals for that tournament from this year. So here we are. I will go around introducing who all the players in it were quickly, although we'll probably be referring to them as their country names throughout just to make it easier because liable to forget names. So, Umbletheheep was Turkey, Conq was Italy, Gohornsgo was England, VillageIdiot was France, Powa was Austria, Russia was MagnesiumFire, Superwerty was Germany. Um, so that's the full list. There's only a couple of names I recognise in there actually, because I play exclusively on play diplomacy and webdip and vdip a bit. I assume it's the same for you.
Even for me, it's even less. I play almost exclusively on web diplomacy, and I will occasionally branch out to other sites for only tournaments. But I recognize two of those names actually from web diplomacy: VillageIdiot and the Turkish player Umbletheheep.
Okay, well, I've been told that I think it was there's one mainly webdip player there, which is I assume Village Idiot. There's a playdip, mainly playdip player, Conq. Um, there were three mainly backstabber players. I forget which three those were. And then the other two were conspiracy. So it's a really diverse field here, which is yeah,
Exactly what you'd want in the finals, eh?
it's fantastic. Yeah. But it also means that we won't really have that sort of meta analysis again. That we don't really know what these players are usually liable to do or how
This might be
strong they are.
becoming a pattern for this channel, eh?
Yep. All right. So shall we get into 1901?
Yeah, this is a. There were a couple of holds that I'm not used to seeing in 1901. Which are really quite odd. The Warsaw hold and the Marseille hold are two moves I would not have been expecting just on the outset, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
I'd like. I see the Warsaw hold a fair bit. It's usually if you want to play a southern opening, but you've agreed to demilitarize Galicia, uh, and you want to stick to that agreement, because there's nowhere really for Warsaw to go in that case that doesn't aggravate someone. But
Yeah, the Silesian move might be a little bit aggressive.
yeah. So Cilicia and Prussia annoy Germany. Livonia probably annoys Germany as well, to be honest, because he'll be expecting you to convoy in Sweden.
Although with the
Um,
move to Finland, that wouldn't happen.
yep. But it also means that like Livonia is not a very useful
Yeah,
province for it to
Livonia
be in.
doesn't border Galicia or Ukraine. Livonia is just it's for Stanley purposes and whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting hold. I would generally not make the agreement to demilitarize Galicia if I wasn't going to use Moscow to push north, because then I could move Warsaw into Ukraine here. But I suppose if he decided that's what he wanted to do, it's totally reasonable.
Yep.
What about the Marseille hold?
The Marseille hold is a very interesting one. I've not seen that before. I don't think ever. Um, I'm trying to think what the benefits of it might be, but the main downside I can see is that if Italy goes into Piedmont here, you can't get your second build.
Yeah,
Because if you're
Well,
in
you can't get your second Iberian build, we should say.
yeah, your second
Belgium is
Iberian
still on the
build,
table, of course.
you can still potentially get Belgium. But usually you would send Marseille to Spain, and then if Italy ends up in Piedmont, you can try and bounce him to go back and bounce him to make sure that, well, if you successfully bounce him in Marseille, then you keep Spain. Well, you keep Marseille because you bounced him, and you keep Spain because your unit's still there. So your fleet can just go to Portugal, and you get the two builds. You still run the risk of not getting it, but in this case, if Italy goes to Piedmont, then you can't go to Spain at all because Italy is always going to attack Marseille.
Yeah, tactically in the 1v1 sense, absolutely. Furthermore, it has the potential downside, how you look at it. He has to now use Mid-Atlantic Ocean to take Portugal, and Marseille has to go to Spain. Whereas if he moved to Spain previously, he could have used Spain to take Portugal and Mid-Atlantic Ocean to the Spain south coast. But because he's still in Marseille, he can't do that. And so, to me, this signals that he wants Italy to know, hey, I'm going to move to Portugal. You don't have to worry about it. Because he can't take Spain and Portugal this turn if he doesn't do this.
Yep. So, I would say, well, sorry about the noise you might be hearing in the background. That's my water meter. But anyway, I would say that it's not necessarily a bad thing having to take Portugal with your fleet. It depends what you're aiming to do, because usually you'll want to move that fleet back to Mid-Atlantic Ocean anyway. But you do lose the flexibility of deciding which one to take with which.
Yeah, which is, in theory, right, you want to give yourself more options, but there are times where you want to limit your options so that you can signify your intentions to someone you want to understand your intentions. So this is like, hey, Italy, I'm not blitzing into the Mediterranean, I guess. But he's also not moving to Burgundy. That hold is really interesting, and I'm not sure why.
I'm just gonna go and quickly check that the stream's working. Yep, it is. Okay. I will tab out of that very quickly so you don't get infinite streams. So yeah, the demilitarized Burgundy is another interesting thing. I mean, potentially is that a reason for Marseille holding, just in case the German goes to Burgundy? I don't think it's a good reason, is it? Because you could still defend Marseille.
It's the same guess, right? Between being in Spain.
Yeah.
It's still bounced out of
It's
Marseille.
The same thing as if Italy went to Piedmont. So that's a strange move. We'll see if it comes to anything.
Yeah, and the rest of this 1v1, the rest of this 1901 seems pretty standard. Not too much.
We need to talk about some stuff in the East, certainly, I think. But let's just cover the sorts of standard moves that we've seen elsewhere. You've got England moving to Yorkshire, which is the safety option against a potential convoy to Wales. Gives you fewer options than going to Edinburgh, but it also means that you can protect Wales if France ends up in the English Channel. We've got Germany, that is the standard German opening in a way that means they can bounce Sweden. That's the big thing.
Bounce in Sweden, maximum pressure on the lowlands.
Yeah, but also probably I should mention quickly, we don't have access to any of the press here. We haven't been following the game deliberately. We've deliberately been avoiding anything about the game, so that this will all be blind commentary and just us looking at the board. There will be another layer to everything, obviously, under the press. If you want to see that, you're best going to the After Action Report channel in their Discord. You can find it by going to their Discord at diplomacynexus.com. But anyway, yes, here we can see...
that's where I'm going after this game, so I can see how much of our guesswork and speculation is actually accurate and how much of it was completely wrong. It's usually fun to see.
Yeah, we can see a lot of who's working with who, potentially, and who wants to work with who on this board already. Specifically around Burgundy. The move to Picardy probably indicates they arranged a DMZ there, and they both stuck to it, so that's going to give them both some trust, Germany and France. We can also see up here in the north, St. Petersburg moved to Finland, which I'm never a fan of.
Yeah, that move is there are a few moves in this game that I think you can just say that move is so much strictly worse than the alternative that it doesn't make any sense. Like so it's a similar thing, right, where like you deny yourself options, but there's just no reason to not be in the Gulf of Bothnia. There's just yeah, it is so sad. It is begging for Germany to bounce you out of Sweden, because you don't even have any retort. Because normally there's a potential threat of you moving to the Baltic Sea, and like if Germany's pissed you off, then you can go there and put pressure on them. But there's not even that threat anymore. It just ugh.
Exactly. That's my feeling. You sort of the reasoning I've always heard for going to Finland is that you're saying to Germany, I'm a lot more friendly than if I'd have gone to the Gulf of Bothnia, because if I'd have gone to the Gulf of Bothnia, I could go into the Baltic Sea and, run havoc around your home centers.
I've heard that argument too. My problem with that argument is you're only more friendly as long as you're in Finland and not the Gulf of Bothnia, but both places are going to Sweden. And the only way that Germany can keep you from being in Sweden is by bouncing you out of Sweden. So it's saying, hey, I'm giving you more incentive to stop me from getting this dot, which maybe your high level strat is saying I want to be weak, I want to be a small Russia that everyone wants to cuddle with and be friendly and then do that, but I not my style. I don't agree with that move at all in any universe.
I'd say the same. I would always go to Bothnia, but we'll see how it works out. It could turn
Absolutely.
out that
if he makes it to Sweden, it doesn't do much, eh?
Yeah, it's kind of the same as the Marseille hold in that respect. We've been criticizing it a bit as a bad move in our eyes, but if it works out, then it's no different than if they'd done the other the move that we suggested.
And again, both of these moves might have diplomatic impact, and if the players can sell the moves with the diplomatic impact that they might have, then the moves will be good moves because they were bad moves, right? Because they indicated they're feeling so hard, it might work out better than had they done the moves that gave them more options. But whatever, it's potentially really minor. And then Turkey, right, just did really standard, like the only other move, right, would be smeared on Armenia and didn't do that. Fine choice. And then Austria did a hedgehog.
Yep. And the Austrian hedgehog is particularly interesting because Russia has clearly agreed to a demilitarized zone here. So in one respect, the Austrian hedgehog worked out in that it successfully bounced Rome back. Because the Italian did try to launch an attack on him. But on the other side, it's probably lost him an ally in Russia, or it could cost him an ally in Russia just because he broke that trust. And that's not something you want if Italy's.
Yeah, it's potentially damaging, but yeah, we'll see how it works out. It might have been that he agreed with Russia, then they talked about it, and then Russia just let him in. Normally with the hedgehog, when I've seen the diplomacy with that opening, you tell both Italy and Russia, I'm moving into these places, do with that what you will, is how I usually see the hedgehog applied. But perhaps this Austria had a different diplomatic approach.
I don't think he did that just because Russia didn't bounce him out of Galicia. If Russia had heard that, I think like every Russia would bounce him out, right? Because
maybe, but in that same mentality though, I think every Russia would move to the Gulf of Bothnia, but this Russia moved to Finland instead. So maybe this Russia is saying, I'm going to have this different approach to the game. I'm going to give people potentially a tactical advantage that I could have denied them, and hope that they see that as me wanting to work with them, being friendly. I could see him having this style and this approach, letting the moves help his diplomacy.
Yeah. If Galicia supports him into Romania and lets him bounce the Black Sea again, that will be perfect. That's
That would
potentially
work
what
quite
he's aiming
nicely.
for. But I just wouldn't want Austria being able to make that decision of who gets into
Yep.
Romania.
All right, shall we see what happens?
Yeah, let's move forward then. I think we've discussed everything. So, autumn 1901. Yeah, if it loads. There we go.
Oh boy.
All right.
There we go.
That's a lot of bounces.
Okay then.
All right. So first thing to mention, Russia did get into Sweden, so the Finland move was fine.
It might have even been the difference. We'll never know.
Yeah.
Unless you read the after action report.
England got Norway. Didn't even bother trying to convoy anything. That's interesting. But bounced Holland, which is more interesting. Because that was a centre he was never going to get anyway. So maybe that's why he didn't bother with the convoy.
Indicates he wants to work with France, right?
Yeah. So clearly England here saying, I'm with you, France. I want to take out Germany here.
Yeah.
Um,
And Germany, right, left Burgundy open with their demilitarized in 1901, or in the fall. So perhaps both England and Germany are interested in working with France. Before France got 3 builds, we'll see if that changes into 1902.
Yep. So
And then the
right
East.
now it seems like France has the best position in the West, but that can translate into having the worst position if everyone thinks they're the person to gang up on.
Yeah, because a 3 build France in 1901 tends to generate ire from the rest of the board.
Yep. All right. So
Russia
yes.
got 2 builds as well, which is good for Russia. Got to waltz into Romania, and got to waltz into Sweden. Nicely done.
In the East, we have a very risky move from Austria, moving Trieste down to Albania, but it works out. I suppose his thinking there is it's really unlikely that Austria would ever move that unit, so Italy would never go for Trieste, right?
Yeah.
So he moved out knowing that Italy is probably not going there, and he covered Vienna. But Italy didn't go for either. Italy went for Munich, which
Germany predicted.
Yeah, it was probably the most likely one to work, but not successful. Germany, yeah, very well read on that. Even though he only picks up 1 build because of the English interference.
Yeah, better to stay here than to have bounced France out of Belgium and get no builds.
Yep.
Or even supported himself into Holland and still only gotten 1 build, but with an Italian in Munich.
I don't hate his position if he'd supported himself into Holland here, because he could, well, depending on where he goes in from, I guess, but he can get the build and potentially force Italy back out just because Italy's got no reinforcement there.
If he had supported himself from the Ruhr, I think he would still be potentially in okay shape, but I think the most likely one would have been from Kiel.
Yeah.
If you assumed Italy wasn't attacking Munich, then you wanted to have 2 on Belgium, but oh well, this is the universe we're in.
Right.
Austria willingly retreated from Galicia, right? Something you pointed out.
Yes.
And Russia moved into Galicia.
Yeah. So I think this is what we said earlier. Austria potentially breaking the trust of Russia on that first turn, and it coming back to bite him now.
Potentially. And note, worth noting is that Serbia moved into Bulgaria and did not support Russia into Romania. That's an interesting point.
Why did Bulgaria move into Serbia? I suppose actually Serbia's likely to go down to Greece. Yeah. So that's a smart move.
Austria could have been greedy, and if Austria moved into Greece and Turkey moved to Greece, right, he could bounce it and then keep Turkey in Bulgaria. But this way, when Austria moves into Bulgaria, there's no way that he can get outguessed, and Turkey will get 1 build at most every time.
Yep.
The safe and I think the definitely tactically correct moves here.
Yep. So in
And it
this
worked out
case,
perfectly.
I think both of them made the right moves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I think Turkey just had a guess, but they're both totally fine.
yeah, I mean Turkey got the same amounts as he would anyway, although
Yeah, in
he's
this case, I
slightly less
think Turkey would have
developed.
liked to bounce Romania here, right when you can see the full board afterwards.
Yes, but
Depending on
also
his diplomacy, right?
yeah.
If he's going to work with Russia against Austria, definitely not. And if he isn't, and he's worried about Russia, then he might have wanted to balance. But
Yeah.
still, I lots of guessing.
I think this is a situation where Turkey probably wants to work with Russia because it's just so easy to take Austria apart from this position, and with Italy going back into Tunis, there's not a huge amount anyone can do against you if Russia's on your side.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I would like to work with Russia here.
But we'll
For
see.
builds,
We'll see
anything
whether
we're
that happens.
looking at, I think Fleet Smyrna is likely. Fleet Naples is likely.
Yeah.
Fleet London is probably likely. I think Russia and France have the most interesting builds.
So France has 3 builds, which not only means he's putting a target on his back, it also means he has to potentially tell people who he might be targeting with his builds. Because if he builds 2 fleets, England is not going to be happy.
Yeah, England or Italy. He's going after one of those too.
Yep.
We'll see which.
I think probably the builds we're going to see from France are Army Marseille, Army Paris, and Fleet Brest, just because that is the one that will probably keep everybody relatively happy.
I could see France waving a build here. I could see Army Paris, Fleet Brest, and then wave the
that
third.
would be a solid move. I'm not used to waving builds, I'll have to admit, but this would be a fantastic use of it.
France. Nobody else, both England and Germany, are interested in working with you. Italy's maybe not. Italy's going east potentially, so I would consider waving a build here.
Yeah, that makes sense. We'll see whether he does. Russia got
do you think?
to...
Yeah, I would expect like Army Warsaw, and then depending on how he wants to handle the north in his negotiations with France, I would like to build a fleet in St. Petersburg, North Coast or South Coast here. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah. I think the move to Finland in the first year probably indicates he wants to work with Germany at least. And the board is ideal for working with Germany as well, because Germany's not going to be a powerful ally. It's going to be someone you can outpace, right?
Yeah, and someone who can still support you in the north. So yeah, I'd probably like to see Fleet North Coast, St. Petersburg.
I think Army St. Petersburg could also work. It's slightly suboptimal.
Yeah, I could see that.
But it gives you more options if Germany decides not to be your friend.
True. Alright, let's... Oh, and then of course Germany, Army Munich, right? If Germany doesn't build Army Munich, we're gonna...
Yeah, Germany. Germany's almost certainly going to be Army Munich here. So, shall we have a look to see how accurate those predictions are?
Alright,
I'm moving on.
Okay. Well, we got a couple of them.
Oh,
and
wow.
then Russia's going for a purely southern approach. Alright.
Yeah, we got a fair few interesting ones here. We've got the double fleet build from France, so probably not going after Germany, despite England bouncing Holland for him. Or bouncing Holland to try and get in his good graces, presumably. We've got Fleet London, Fleet Naples, Fleet Smyrna, those were pretty obvious. Army Budapest? Yeah, that's...
Seemed pretty natural.
That's pretty fine. Army Trieste would be more defensive against... yeah, I suppose Budapest is just the better one.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Russian builds are probably the most interesting ones, because he's not committing to the north at all. Absolutely nothing up there.
Yeah.
He has the option to send something though, because he's got Army Moscow, which is nice. It's very nice.
He can go to St. Petersburg.
But he's not immediately aggravating anyone, which is a pretty good choice.
There's value in that. Alright, do you want to make predictions for the moves, or do you want to just go on to see the the
I'd
spring
say
moves.
we go on. Are we doing power rankings this time around, or like once every 2 years, maybe on that?
I think we should wait until 1902 so we can see the actual shakings of alliances, because right now it's only the potential for alliances, which is not a lot to be ranking.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, let's skip ahead to spring 1902. Well, not skip ahead, but just move on. Here we've got a lot of bounces on that Austrian front. That's the first thing that stands out to me.
Yeah.
Very smart moves from the Austrian here, I think, but obviously leaving Trieste open is not fun. He did do everything he possibly could to protect his centres from France. France is not there. Russia, Turkey.
Yeah.
And this double cut here is a fantastic way to do that, providing Romania isn't the unit moving.
This is and the way that it's set up actually, even if Romania moves into Budapest, he can never lose Budapest. The only potential here would be if Turkey supported Romania into Serbia. It's the only way that he gets hosed. And if that happens, yeah, his thing all breaks. But that move set is so hard for Turkey and Russia to find, because like if Russia would want to, if they were supporting into Serbia, they would want to attack from Bulgaria, because then Turkey could move into and backfill from Constantinople, or Russia could just go for Budapest like that, which in this case Russia did. But by doing like this, those are definitely, I think, the best news from Austria, and again they worked out nicely. In
Aside
theory,
from
right?
in the back,
Yeah.
where
In theory, like Vienna moving to Trieste would have worked out better on this exact order sequence, but we're not
it's
omniscient.
safety. Albania moving to Trieste might have been the. I suppose he wants to take Greece. He's maybe trying to cut a deal that Italy can have Trieste if he wants it.
I could see that. That'd be a good offer here. I think it's also as plausible that Turkey instead would have just moved after Greece instead of going after Serbia, and tried to, in the fall, take Serbia as well.
That makes sense
I think
as
that was
well.
a very plausible order sequence from Turkey, that by this move to Albania, Turkey was not going to make any progress. Turkey couldn't get a build.
And yeah, that's a fantastic thing about this order set as well. The only way it makes any progress is if Russia makes progress, and Russia is already going to be the dominant power in this alliance if they are together, just because of his positioning here. That's probably why he suspected Turkey would not support Russia into Serbia. Well, one of the reasons why, because that would put Turkey on such a horrible footing compared to his ally. His ally would just outpace him massively. So, but I'm wondering whether he was expecting Italy to go the other way, because he is in a bad position here, regardless of how good these moves worked out.
Potentially, if Italy decides to work exclusively with Austria now from here, it could go very nicely. If Italy ends up in the Aegean Sea with support from Austria, or in the Eastern Mediterranean by just outguessing the Turk, and Italy would get another build, we could see a convoy into Syria or Smyrna potentially next year, which I think would be
that could be amazing, actually.
Just backbreaking.
Yeah, we'll have to
see in 1903 Lepanto.
We'll have to see if that happens. I think Italy can make a fair few gains just by attacking Austria here, although Austria probably has the threat of, if you screw me, I'll do everything I can to screw you. Which
absolutely,
is
generally a pretty effective threat.
Yeah, always the threat Austria will make against Italy if a juggernaut is forming, and Italy is being like this, attacking Austria.
Alright, and in the north...
In the north, we've got England moving against Russia, Russia moving against England. I really don't agree with moving against Russia here as England, given the double fleet build from France.
And the likely French-German alliance.
Yeah, and that's not just likely now, we can see it in the moves.
It feels pretty likely.
England
Taking Holland
is.
from Ruhr instead of from Kiel to me screams, "Hey France, I don't want to hurt you." And France bouncing in Burgundy rather than taking it screams, "Hey Germany, we're chill."
Yep, absolutely. So they're basically limiting their options to attack each other right now. Which, yeah.
Yeah, so let's actually talk about this on the self bounce in Burgundy here. We have a question in the chat. So the idea is that by self bouncing in Burgundy, if Germany tried to take Burgundy with just the strength of one, Germany would not be able to take it himself. Normally, the way you would stop that attack would be by moving in there yourself. But if he did that and Germany didn't move, as Germany doesn't in this case, France would then end up in Burgundy, which could be seen as an aggressive move against the German. By self bouncing in Burgundy, he ensures he will. This is not an aggressive move. He did not make forward progress, but it might have stopped a potential German attack into Burgundy himself. And so it's a way to ensure a little bit of safety and not be even potentially seen as an aggressive move, whereas simply moving into Burgundy might have.
Precisely. Usually you'd see these kind of self bounces as a way to protect 3 provinces with 2 units. In this case, it's just a way to protect the 2 provinces, Belgium and Burgundy, without occupying both of them at once. Yes, the move to Tyrolia is quite something.
I think it's natural if you're allied with France. Russia's not attacking you. What's that army going to do? Maybe help out your Austrian buddy in that Anschluss we're all hearing about.
Yeah, that could be an option. I would be too worried that it would go through, I think. Like, especially if you're clearing out Ruhr as well, you're leaving yourself very open if you're in
Sure.
Tyrolia too. But
My question is, where would Tyrolia go? The only place I could see Tyrolia going would be into Trieste.
Trieste is what I was thinking.
Um,
I guess
and as
in
Italy, would you want to Trieste from Tyrolia or from Venice?
you would absolutely
Because
want to take it from Venice. That's true, just
so I
because
could
it
see
leaves you the better defense.
better defense and better attack against Vienna, right?
Yeah.
So I would just assume, yeah, if Italy goes after Trieste, he's supporting himself from Venice, and so this move to Tyrolia is guaranteed to never go anywhere, and I can be as safe as I'd like.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's guaranteed, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
I'm
I
a
think I
betting
could.
man.
I yeah, the odds are good that you're not moving. And I suppose if you do move, it's just one province. You can probably get back. I just wouldn't want that army trapped there if Paris did go into Burgundy. And
Yes,
just
that
kept
would have been.
bouncing.
I mean, Tyrolia is not trapped. They can still defend Munich this turn, and he could still bounce France out of Ruhr and Munich, so France couldn't make any forward progress without British help. But if England and France turned out to be working together here and Germany made it into Tyrolia, he would be dead. But oh well.
Yeah.
Um, and then in the north, we just have a couple of guesses between St. Petersburg.
Yep. I'm just looking here at how screwed the Englishman is. Just Portugal into Marseille to Spain south coast. They're all set up to form this lovely convoy route around the back in
Absolutely, straight
North
to
Atlantic
Liverpool.
Ocean or Irish Sea. They
Yep.
could support a move to English Channel, but probably won't because they've just got an open
Do you
line
think
here.
England is going to convoy back, or do you think he's going to go for a guess and try to get the build?
I think England has to convoy back, right? There's no option here. If you leave the United Kingdom without any armies there and someone else convoys an army in, you are really not in a good spot. If he successfully gets a build, can he successfully get a build?
He can. It's a guess for St. Petersburg.
It's not a guess if Sweden supports supports St. Petersburg into Norway.
Yeah.
Then in order to get your guess correct, you're relying on Denmark not cutting north, right?
Yeah,
'Cause-
yes, you're
yeah,
right. I was assuming Denmark was not cutting the North Sea. If Denmark cuts the North Sea and he does that move sequence, then yeah, Sweden, or excuse me, Russia will not lose a center. Um,
yeah.
I don't
I,
know why I was assuming Denmark wouldn't cut the North Sea because it seems pretty likely, but
uh,
that's what I was
maybe
thinking.
the German will want to see the Russian weakened.
I don't see
But
why. Russia's been
I
pretty
don't
friendly to him
see
so
why.
far.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he
in that
just
case, you
wants
just have to
England dead.
convoy back. You just need to. All right, sounds good.
All right, let's move
I think I'm most
forward.
interested to see what the Italian does next year. I think he's got many options, and I'm most interested to see what he chooses.
For sure, yeah. I'll be
All right.
interested to see how Austria chooses to defend as well. Given,
Oh yeah,
I think he's a solid tactical player given
he's had
his moves
he's
here.
made a few very
So,
good tactical moves.
and also, unlike the World Diplomacy Championships, this one is not live. So,
Yeah.
so there probably won't be the same number of misorders we saw there. Um,
I would expect not. Plus, this is online based, right?
yeah,
Which means there are going to be fewer misorders. In online play, most sites don't let you even input misorders.
this one does.
Okay,
So,
so this one does. So there might still be some, but for example, in web diplomacy, it will not let you input a misorder. So
well, an invalid misorder anyway. It can still let you order to the wrong province if you.
yes, but you can't
But yeah,
say
it's
I'm
much
moving
harder.
into Moscow instead of Munich with your army,
Yeah.
um, which I've definitely never done in a live game. Nope. Let's go to the 1903. Let's
All right. It's not
let's get to the
1903.
end of this one.
It's autumn. All right. Moving on to autumn. If my page loads, this is being very slow today.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of this Austrian player. This Austrian knows what's up.
I'm, oh, yeah, successfully convincing the Turks to go after Russia. That's fantastic play here, and probably the only thing that could have saved him, given
And
that Russia
I
tried
think
to support Italy.
he also got the Turk to take the Ionian Sea.
Yeah. So
Like
clearly
that's
clearly taking Trieste was not arranged at all.
it
Um,
seems unlikely.
yeah.
And then the Russian supported the Italian into Vienna.
Yep.
Jeez.
So
Russia took a beating.
Austria's still not in a good position here, but it is probably the best position he could have come out of this in, given the Italian and Russian working together. Successfully saving Budapest with this supporting the Turk up, successfully pushing the Turks' fleet out of the danger zone, and into a position where it pretty much has to go after Italy. It doesn't have to, but Italy's gonna not be very is not going to be very happy that it's there. Yeah, Russia loses Romania, and now, yeah, it's pretty set. It's a solid deal for Turkey as well because he was not going to gain very much from that Russian attack, especially considering Russia was supporting Italy in.
Yeah. Russia Russia also lost Sweden in the north, right? While this was happening, and he got stabbed. So Russia's down 2 builds. He supported Italy into Vienna, so Italy's going to be really strong. Russia is not looking too happy right now. I think
It's
now's a pretty good time to do some power rankings, actually. If you want
well,
to evaluate the
let's
Blitzkrieg.
have a quick look at the north first because this is well, the west and the north,
Yeah.
because this is another fantastic thing that's just happened and something that's horrible for Russia. Germany decides to side with England, and
Yep.
supports Norway into Sweden, supports gets supported into Belgium. It's actually a very solid plan because France was very clearly on going to gain the most out of the way the game was going.
And Germany didn't build a fleet, so he's still on the one fleet, meaning now England gets his build to put an army back in Liverpool. This one was a guaranteed build as well. There was no way this could have been stopped. And France is down a center. Jeez.
Yep. Just, yeah. fantastic
So,
play, I think.
yeah, the
There's...
power rankings from here, I would put Italy in first place. I think Italy with...
I do not agree with that, with the Turkish fleet in Ionian already.
Yeah, but we've got a fleet in Naples.
I suppose no one else is massively strong, actually. Yeah.
Everyone else, yes, I agree with this. Maybe... Okay, there might be an issue with the German player also in Tyrolia. If Italy, when I say we, can't get Germany to put any pressure on Austria at all, then Italy will crumble. And so it depends on that army in Tyrolia, how the Italian-Austrian war goes.
Yep. Absolutely. Italy
So
did get
case,
the double build, so that's something he can use to protect himself quite reasonably well. But
did Germany just get in the best position on the board? Did I just watch that happen? I think that just happened, right?
He's got
about the
an enemy army in Ruhr, but I suppose he's got
has
the
two builds.
Kiel and Munich.
Kiel and Munich are both manned.
Wow. That was a very quick turnaround. Even though he wasn't in a bad position alliance-wise anyway, he had two people who wanted to work with him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like England didn't, but with this move, I guess England said, "Okay, France is actually after me. Let's do this."
Yep. Taking this was a fantastic play by the German.
So I think I would say reevaluated power rankings. I would put Turkey as number 1.
Yeah,
I think
I can see that.
A 5-build Turkey with an Austria who needs to attack Italy, a Russia who's been neutered. I think I would love to play that Turkey more than anything else because I suck as Germany.
Yep.
I would put Germany as number 2 and Italy as number 3.
I can agree with all of these. France probably next.
I'm not sure between France and England. My instinct would be I would put England ahead of France here.
Maybe.
So England gets a build. His tactical position is certainly much worse. In the short term, right, France having a fleet in the North Atlantic and Mid-Atlantic and the English Channel means that England is going to be hurting in the short term.
Yep.
But England is more likely to be able to work with France than France. Or England is likely to get Germany's alliance more so than France in this position. And I think that is worth a lot because France has to disband, remember? France is down a build.
Oh, France is down a unit, yeah.
And so if he loses an army, Germany can push him over the mainland. And if he loses a fleet, England can hold.
Yep.
So I think that's why I would put England over France here. But I do agree that it's close.
I think France can, if he disbands that fleet, he can hold out for quite a while and hope for a change in the alliance structure. But yes, I would say England's... Yeah, that makes sense. England is in a slightly better position here.
All right. And then between Austria and Russia, I would put Austria ahead of Russia, but I wouldn't want to be either.
Yeah.
I would rather be Austria than Russia because Austria is just more compact at this moment in time.
Yes. Russia's got Norway still. Norway, they managed to take Norway with St. Petersburg there, but they also lost St. Petersburg in the process, and that army is completely useless in Norway. It's just going to get murdered.
If that was a fleet, it might actually fly in the Norwegian Sea and start putting around, but as an army in Norway here, it's going to retreat to Finland and die, I think, so...
Yep.
Not what you want to see.
The rest of Russia's position is a fleet in Sevastopol that he's probably going to disband. How many units does he have? He had a forced disband of potentially one of his best units there.
Yes, Army Romania would have been nice. He would have loved to have an Army Warsaw, Army Ukraine, and try to hold that line, but no, I think Russia is just going to collapse here. At least his only saving grace is that it's a fleet in the north coast of St. Petersburg, and it's not an army in St. Petersburg.
Yep.
His only saving grace, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
At least Austria has an ally
in
in Turkey,
Turkey,
which Russia does not have. Which
Russia
is why
has
I
the
put
ally
Austria ahead.
in Italy, but they can't help him. They're too
I mean,
far away.
well, the
That's
army in Vienna can maybe, like, if Italy decides to support Austria into Budapest,
Russia
we
into
could see,
Budapest. Yeah,
or excuse me, Russia into Budapest, we could see maybe it mattering, but
that
I
just seems
suspect it
like it
won't.
divides Russia's forces even more. Though, like it just puts him in a position where Italy can easily stab him later.
Yeah, and I don't think Italy will. I think Italy's got more pressing matters than trying to help Austria into Budapest.
Yep.
Or Russia into Budapest, excuse me.
So yeah, I'd agree with those rankings. We've
All
got
right,
Turkey 1,
predictions for
Germany
builds?
2, Italy 3, England 4, France 5, Austria 6, and Russia 7th. Predictions for builds. I need to look at how many builds people have. The French disband. Where do you think that'll be?
Picardy. Picardy or Belgium. I think they're equivalent.
I'd wonder whether they disband Ruhr, just because Ruhr is going to get force disbanded on the next turn anyway, right?
With the army in Gascony or Picardy, you can support Ruhr into Burgundy,
Oh
which will
yes.
stop them from capturing Burgundy. And they would need to support themselves into Burgundy and would need to support themselves into Ruhr to force the disband, which is maybe too much of a concern. Maybe it's better to just keep Picardy, Gascony, and then support yourself into Burgundy that way. But
Yeah,
it's probably better to keep Picardy, Gascony. I can see that.
I
I
would
just hate
want
disbanding
to.
Ruhr. Being in Ruhr as the French is such a power position. You love it, and you're like, oh yeah. Maybe you have to disband a fleet, honestly. Maybe you have to just disband North Atlantic Ocean and just say, all right, England, I made a mistake. Sorry, I can't actually kill you. Maybe let's go back to hurting Germany.
That actually makes more sense, especially considering England is probably building an army rather than a fleet here to defend its homeland.
Yeah, I could see Fleet Liverpool or Army Liverpool. Both seem fine, but yeah, you'd have to disband the fleet. I think if you only have two armies, right, against this German horde, you're gonna get broken. So
yeah, that makes sense. I think it's what we said earlier anyway, right?
Yeah.
I just somehow managed to forget it. So, which fleet do you disband? You disband North Atlantic Ocean just because you want to say to England, I don't want to kill you anymore.
Yeah, I could see this. And you also importantly, you want Mid-Atlantic Ocean to be able to support whole English Channel. So that if England builds Fleet London, or if he doesn't build Fleet London, excuse me, you can still support whole English Channel for at least the spring. Yeah. And you don't want to concede English Channel without a fight.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Over the other side of the board, we've got the Russian disbanding one unit.
Probably Norway.
Yeah, that would make sense because that unit is not going to get out of there alive. I kind of hate keeping Fleet Sevastopol on the board, but he needs it for defense. It's such a useless unit.
That fleet goes away. But it's a body that you can support, hold, in Sevastopol. That's what it does.
That's literally its only use.
It's not. And it can bounce the Black Sea. There's some value in that.
There's a significant amount of value in that, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Fleet Constantinople just make that completely.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Useless.
Just take the Black Sea and then still get into the Mediterranean pretty quickly. I think that's absolutely what I'd expect.
Did Austria
from Turkey?
Is Austria down to
Austria is down one, I believe.
Yeah, so
we lost Vienna and Trieste, gaining Greece, so down one.
Bohemia probably comes off the board. Maybe Greece if he's being very trusting in the Turk.
I would just say it's not even a matter. I would say Greece is the one that he would keep if he's trusting in the Turk, and disbanding Greece is the one that's less trusting of the Turk.
Really?
Because you want as many armies as you want, I think, in this Austrian position. You want to be as landlocked as possible, but Greece is this really juicy center that Turkey can take at any time.
Yes.
Right. Even with the fleet there, that strength of one isn't going to do anything to help against Turkey. It's not going to really a deterrent, and you want to instead be as strong as you can elsewhere if you're worried about the Turk at all.
that makes sense.
I just stick to the heuristic. As Austria
Also,
armies, they both, it's alliteration. They both have A in the name, and so you always build armies.
that makes sense. You do have to build fleets at some point, otherwise you're not going to win. But
Only if
in
we're
this
going for the
position,
solo, but
I don't think Austria is aiming for the solo just now. He can still,
that's because your sights aren't set high enough, man. Always go for the solo.
like, there's still potential to recover. That's a good thing. But yeah, it's not a position you would want to be thinking, how do I get to 18 from here?
All right, we need to. There's got to be alliteration there. Like, Austrian armies always achieve something,
Uh,
but I can't think of an A to round it all out.
all right, Twitch chat, that's your job. We've got commentary to do.
Yeah, Austrian armies always achieve, and you guys have to find an A word that fits here. You guys with your wordplay. Anyways, let's just go see what the builds are. I think we spent long enough.
Just one last thing,
predictions.
Greece being disbanded would also be good in that it would let Constantinople, it will probably encourage Constantinople to support into the Black Sea, because it doesn't, there's no need to
worry about
Aegean. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next round.
A question about the press type. Was this a rulebook press, or was this
no, this was
full press?
This is full press. So
so they're allowed to discuss their builds with each other?
Yeah. On web diplomacy and in face-to-face, there are settings called, well, rulebook settings that you can't discuss anything during retreats and during builds. But on most other sites, I think all other sites, that's not a thing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Fleet London.
And we missed a lot. We did not do a really good job about predicting these builds.
Army Berlin?
Army Berlin instead of Army Kiel. Maybe just saying, look, Russia's dead. Let's get those dots. We don't need to worry about Ruhr. France probably said he's pulling out of Ruhr, so don't worry about it. We predicted Fleet Liverpool instead of Fleet London, but there's obviously
Fleet London makes sense if you knew that France was disbanding that fleet, and even if France wasn't disbanding that fleet, he can still protect Liverpool with Wales. The only issue is a convoy to Clyde, and that's not going to happen with a German assault on the French homeland.
That seemed like it would be a greedy play from France.
Yep, that would be.
I don't care about Paris or Marseille or Brest, or not even Spain that much. Just have them. I want Liverpool. I was born there. My mom came from that place. Like, I want to go back.
Why would you want Liverpool?
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, man.
Sorry, let's go.
Anyways, the other one that we missed. We missed Disband of Galicia. I don't think you saw that coming. I certainly didn't see that one coming.
I did not know. That is, I suppose,
I think this is good news for the Austrian. This is great news for the Austrian. Look at that.
It's leaving Italy on his own. Just saying, I have my own war to fight. You go deal with your stuff. Greece did get disbanded. We see Army Smyrna instead of Fleet Constantinople, so that's him wanting to take Armenia instead of Black Sea. That's totally reasonable.
I'd still take Black Sea because I want that fleet pushing into the Mediterranean more quickly. Is my feeling. I think that's quite valuable, and this way it's going to take him an extra season to get into the Aegean, which I guess might not matter so much because Austria disbanded the fleet. You're not going to be making any progress in the naval department against Italy, so maybe with that extra fleet can say, I'm just going to be defending anyways. I can build it in time to hold my home centers, so I'm not too concerned.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And I don't think we even talked about the Italian builds, but
Army 2 fleets.
Army Venice is missing, conspicuously missing there. With the German unit in Tyrolia, that's surprising.
This is the thing, because Conq is a player I know by reputation as a very gutsy player who has great faith in his silver tongue to convince people to not take his dots. And this seems like a place where he thinks he's got Germany right where he wants them. Is my feeling. Or he's just saying, look, I'm in the Adriatic Sea and Trieste. Take Venice, I dare you. But
yeah, that's another option. But it also means he can't really hold. Like, even if Germany backs off, there's no way he's being able to push into Austria, right? He's just committing all out on going for the coastal centres. Because 4 fleets.
I mean, it's
And no
tough to
builds in sight.
take Italy with 4 fleets there.
It's defensive.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Russia is gonna lose in the south. He's gonna lose in the north, and he's probably gonna lose Warsaw too.
He's clearly trying to stabilize in the north by keeping both units there. It means he can try and take St. Petersburg back.
Problem is, he's just a little bit outnumbered, and
he's outnumbered.
France disbanded a fleet in the North Atlantic Ocean.
He's outnumbered if Germany continues being against him.
He built an army Berlin.
He did, yeah, okay. But Germany might decide that England's more of a threat at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe Germany does something where it's like he self-bounces in Kiel and then supports like Munich into Ruhr or something weird. No, I can't. Yeah. I can't do it.
Yeah.
If Berlin doesn't go to Silesia or Prussia,
what's he going to do about that Ruhr army if he moves to Silesia and Prussia?
Pulling out,
oh, he's only going to one of them, you're saying?
Yeah. Not Berlin and not probably Prussia or Silesia from Berlin.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on to the next phase?
Yeah, I think Austria is going to retake Vienna here. That's my prediction.
I don't think there's any way
back into Vienna.
I don't think there's any way Italy keeps Vienna unless Turkey decides to stab Austria, and it doesn't seem like the time to do that.
Yeah.
Unless Germany decides to prop Italy.
I think there's too much juicy in Russia right now.
Germany's not going to decide to prop Italy up. All right, let's go to the next round. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't just lose Vienna; he loses Trieste as well.
With some nice German help.
Not building Army Venice. He's biting here.
And he moved Berlin to Kiel.
That's interesting. I wonder if France promised to disband Ruhr. Because with a French disband of Ruhr, Berlin, Munich makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because Army Kiel isn't necessarily that useful.
Yes. True. I could see that. That would explain the move.
Yeah.
And we then see that Germany also got stabbed by England. Quite rude.
Oh, wow. Yes, that happened too. And England just gives Russia St. Petersburg back.
Probably like an exchange for Russia's support into Kiel.
Yep.
Maybe a trade for Norway, saying let's just go back to the way things were. You have St. Petersburg, I have Norway, and we call it a draw.
Yeah, because he's getting a lot more use out of that fleet if he puts it back in Norway again. There's nothing it can do in St. Petersburg.
Oh, man.
This game is... I'm really liking this game. It's been surprisingly dynamic.
The English player has, I think, done a fantastic job. I think England navigated a really potentially tough situation. A 3-build France that went aggressive immediately, but then he found his ally, and then he used his ally to restabilize, and then his ally might have been too strong, and then he said, nope, we can't have that, and then he flipped again. I think that was really solid play from the English player.
Yeah, I'd agree. And he leaves London open here. Holding in Wales, presumably assuming that... I'm assuming he told France that he wouldn't be cutting the English Channel, in which case France would probably... Well, if France knows about this attack on Denmark, France would assume that he's moving Wales to London, yeah? Well, he wouldn't assume that Wales would be holding. So the convoy would most likely come in to Wales if a convoy is happening.
Yes.
So that's
generally convoying at the army is a good place, or the fleet is a good place to go for the convoy.
Because people don't like holding. Yes. Holding is fine. This is Diplomacy Tactics 101. If your unit doesn't need to do anything, you can order a
I
halt.
feel like this is more diplomacy tactic like 103, because
Potentially.
diplomacy tactic 101 is you want your units making progress, getting in a good strategic position, and like you never take a dot by holding, right? So we tell people make more moves. It usually works out.
Yes.
In general, that's the 101. Then 102 is like, okay, so your unit might not be in a place where you can get a dot now, but like how can you position it so it can get a dot later or help you get a dot later? And then there's 103, which is, oh, your unit's already in the best place to do all of that nonsense and it's defending yourself. Let it be.
Yeah. So in short, step 1 is learning to move. Step 2 is also learning to move. Step 3 is learning not to move.
Yeah.
Alright, so what do we reckon about this giant bounce on Belgium Ruhr? I think that's a very good call from France, given that he's assuming English support, or at least England not cutting the English channel. This is the most obvious German order set for trying to get rid of that Ruhr army. At least without the units in Kiel, right?
Seems like the only one to me. If you were expecting that to disband, you got to get rid of it. This seems like the way to do it.
Yeah. It looks like it's losing Belgium in the short term, but I assume Germany's assuming England is on side here. And if England's on side, then Belgium's not lost. It's just gone for the spring. But obviously England isn't on side. So we've seen a complete reversal from the Frenchmen, again moving Mao back down Spain. Could still move up again, but probably won't. Especially considering so many Italian fleets. That's a lot of Italian fleets. Yeah. Do we have much more to talk about in the north? We've got
the north, not so much.
This move down to Baltic.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt Germany. Germany is really in a bad spot. I'm regretting putting him so high on a power ranking last time, although it did look like he was in a good spot then.
He was, but that's the nature of diplomacy. It's this fine balancing act where you want to be strong enough to affect the board, but not so strong people are worried about you dominating and like snowballing or whatever. And we also don't see their negotiations. It's possible if you were in the room, you'd see that Germany left the room screaming at England after whatever, and you knew that their alliance was going to break down. But
yeah, of course, online it's not as simple as that, but yeah.
True.
Yeah, the unit in Baltic is going to really hurt Germany here. With Kiel and Berlin under threat, France still has the unit in Ruhr. Germany's lost Denmark. I think Germany's gone from potentially or almost the best position on the board to one of the worst.
Yeah.
We should look at the south.
I'm really Russia's decision to keep the 2 units in the north looks really smart now.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
both flabbergasted by it, but his moves in the south do not look quite so fortuitous. He let Turkey into both Ankara and Armenia, so Sevastopol is
attempting
lost.
to get a center that he'd presumably never get unless he was expecting Austria to cut Bulgaria or
Austria to cut Bulgaria, or maybe Turkey moves with Romania, and then
it's not.
I mean, if Turkey moved with Romania, he would have taken it, and then maybe could bounce out of Sevastopol, and then he can like weasel his way back into it. But a low probability to guarantee he's lost instead of giving him a little more time is not necessarily good.
Yeah, I think bouncing Black Sea would have been. I suppose he could potentially have thought that Turkey would just hold, and one of those 2 units hope the fleet would bounce him, and then Romania would go to Sevastopol. But then you can counter that with Ukraine to Sevastopol anyway, so it doesn't. It's not a good move from Russia in the south. It's good choices from Russia in the north, not great choices in the south. Turkey, very interesting move down in the south, gets knocked out of Ionia and retreats to Greece. So Austria has just got a bunch more centers, so he doesn't necessarily need Greece anymore. That might have been arranged. Actually, probably was arranged, given that Austria has no way to hold Greece against Italy. Right? Because he's got Army Budapest, Army Trieste, Army Vienna.
I'm sorry. Did Italy get into Budapest somehow?
Italy did not get into Budapest. Austria is in Budapest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying. Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
yeah.
You would need Turkish support in Greece. I see what you're saying. Absolutely.
So here, Austria has gone up to 5 centres, but it's one of those cases where it's not really 5 centres because he's got all of his home centres covered. So he's still on 3 units. Losing Greece doesn't really matter.
Well, this is still spring, I believe.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, sorry, it's spring. I'm a moron.
Yeah, so so he can still
forget
vacate Budapest, and Turkey can still take Sevastopol in the fall.
But at most, Austria's getting 1 build, yes, because he's only got 1 centre he can open up. So losing Greece wouldn't change anything anyway.
His builds for the short term, absolutely. But it looks like Turkey might be building 2 and going up to 7. I like being a 7 center Turkey in 1904.
Is solid. He does have that encroaching Italian massive naval
the 4
force.
fleet menace. Taking Ionia is going to be a challenge. But Italy lost 2 centers this turn, right? Vienna and Trieste both went down.
Oh, yes. So Italy's going to have to choose.
Maybe some fleets will get disbanded, perhaps.
He's got to disband fleets, right? If he doesn't disband fleets, he's just giving away his northern centres to Austria. Especially considering Germany's working with Austria here.
But Venice looks to be lost anyways.
It is, because Albania's... Adriatic's gone to Albania.
I suppose it's still potentially... Yeah, it's still guesswork, depending on what Turkey does with Greece, but Venice is hard to defend from here.
Yeah. So maybe you do just commit all-out naval and say to Austria, I'm the only thing keeping this Turkish monster contained. Otherwise he'll just run over all of us.
He'll kill me, and then he'll kill you, and then he's at 15 centers, and Russia can't stop him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that's...
All right, I think I like Turkey. Let's go see some more moves.
Okay. Autumn 1903. Let's move on to that. Yes, we've got a huge attack against Turkey here. Well, a successful attack against Turkey. Where are you looking at with the shock?
Wow, I'm just I like the Turkish moves. I really, really like the Turkish moves. But man, did they get punished.
Yep.
They got demolished. That's... oof. And Austria got his build again. Oh, and Turkey still got a build. No, he didn't. He lost Romania.
Well, he gets a build because he had to force disband Romania, yeah?
Yes. He stays on the same number of centers, but he does get to build.
And he can rebuild that as fleet in Smyrna, which is probably more useful.
Seems really helpful, yeah. And Russia, the player we all thought was doomed and was hopelessly lost, didn't lose a center.
He's stabilized.
He's on 4 centers?
He didn't get anything in Germany, but that's not necessarily a problem because he's suddenly got no threats. He's got the fleet, Black Sea, and Army Armenia to worry about. But Romania isn't even his anyway, so that's not... that being threatened isn't necessarily a problem to him. And Turkey's a long way away from being able to take anything of his if he wants to defend it.
Absolutely.
We do have to see what the Austrian decides to do, because the Austrian has a few ways he can go here. But yeah, I'd say Russia's done a very good job stabilizing.
Yeah, very impressive. And same for Austria. The two players that both seem to be crumbling are both stable on 4 with seeming allies and solid defensive position against their obvious enemies.
Yep.
So I'm really impressed. And Germany just it's hard to fight against Russia, England, and France.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what the moves here were. I think Germany tried to double support Russia into Denmark, which is probably fine. It's he needs an ally, so trying to get an ally is
from Russia, who Germany I don't think ever did anything aggressive against Russia in this game. I think Germany. Oh no, he did. He supported. He did that support. Yes.
Yeah.
He supported England into Sweden.
He does manage to disband Ruhr, which is a big plus to his defenses, but he's also lost Belgium, so.
He lost Belgium, and I think more importantly, Helgoland Bight.
Oh yes.
Was disbanded.
So he's fully surrounded.
Kiel and Holland are both exposed, likely to fall.
And Germany. That unit is stuck in Tyrolia still. That's.
But it defended Munich. It did its job, I suppose.
It did.
Although hilariously, if he didn't block Munich, he would have ended up in Burgundy. France would have only had one build, and he could have some fun guesswork in Gascony.
France would.
The fun place for
France would have had 3 builds, right? One from Belgium, one from Munich, and he's just had Ruhr disbanded.
And Ruhr went to Holland. Yes, he would have had an extra build.
So.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that would have worked out very well for him.
That might have gone terribly. maybe just a bit.
Yeah, France has 2 builds. France has 2 builds here because of that.
Belgium and disband. Yeah.
I'd be interested to see whether he's going to use it to try and stop England dominating again, given how much the alliances have been flipping so far, or whether he's going to try and use it to push forward in what's it called, the Entente alliance.
I would I'm sorry, is Entente when he's going after Germany?
Entente is England, France, together.
All right, then I think he's gonna both build a fleet in Marseille and then army in Paris.
That would make sense. Yep.
I think the Italian is a really good place for him to push. He wants fleets to be able to keep England honest, to say, hey, I'm not going to be a pure army power. I still have navies, and I can still fight if you would stab me. If you have your eyes on the Mid-Atlantic or anything, I can still defend that. But they're not going after you. Don't worry about it. And then the army, of course, to keep the pressure on Germany.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think Italy's going to disband? Probably a fleet Albania, maybe fleet Tyrrhenian.
Fleet. I wouldn't be surprised to see fleet Tunis going, actually, but maybe that's just my view on it. It depends.
Maybe I could see keeping Tyrrhenian over Tunis.
Maybe fleet Albania, even if he's going defensive, because he probably knows France is likely to build a fleet in Marseille. And fleet Albania isn't doing a lot, especially if Austria is sticking with the Turk. It's just sitting there waiting to be forced out into the Adriatic.
And the fleet in the Adriatic is pretty helpful for defending Ionian or Venice.
It is.
It's definitely a useful place to have a fleet in the Austrian-Italian War. But every spot is useful. It's which one's the most useful.
Yeah. So he obviously can't push back into Trieste again. There's too much Austrian force there.
Yeah. All the units.
he's also not too much at risk of losing. Well, he's not going to lose Venice in the spring phase because Germany has far bigger things to worry about than.
Probably. If Germany can find time to help Austria into Venice, and amidst all the chaos, I'm impressed at the Germans' tactical prowess and his amazing intelligence gathering.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So it's
All
really
right.
none of his disbands are easy. I wonder if he disbands. Maybe not. I'm just
You were
wondering
thinking about Romania?
whether Romania is actually a good unit for him or not. It's nice in that it helps the Russian stabilize, but it doesn't do anything for Italy, does it?
I would want it to keep the Austrian honest. I would use Romania as a bargaining chip to tell Austria, "Hey, I can support you into Bulgaria. I'm just I'm just saying, you could be in Bulgaria and I could be in Greece and not in Albania, and then look at us, we're friends again."
Yeah, that would
That would
work.
be my negotiating tactic from this position.
Hmm. Yeah, would be a lot easier if we could see the negotiations to tell
You could
what
see the press.
what
Yeah.
they're going to disband. But
All right. Well, let's see it,
let's
and
move
let's try to
on.
guess the press.
All right, winter 1903. We probably do have to speed this up a bit at some point, but double fleet build from the
Yeah,
French.
we're a little bit behind our hopeful pace, but it's
All
okay.
right, Fleet Tunis gets disbanded.
Good call. Fleet Smyrna, yeah. 2 fleets from France.
Hmm.
Whew. Who
England
needs
builds an
armies?
army as well, which is yeah, that's definitely something you should start doing at some point.
Yeah,
um,
at some point, I would rarely want to build an army the same turn that France builds 2 fleets, putting him equal to your fleet count. That's
this
usually a thing that I don't like doing, but
especially with like nothing in North Sea, nothing in Norwegian. He's only got one fleet directly on the French front. The rest is
yeah,
all
and there's a fleet
committed.
in Belgium too. Oh my God, are we gonna see another English-French war
I
again?
would love to see another flip here. It would be so
All right,
fantastic.
I think it's
Uh,
happening. And then
we've
the
got
South, I think Italy and Austria are gonna get their act in gear, and they're
working
gonna
together.
kick the Turk to the curb.
Maybe. Uh, we'll see. That would be an option to go forward. I just wonder if it hems in the Austrian too much, especially if Italy's allowed to keep Romania.
I think they'll negotiate that out later.
Mm. All right, let's move
Uh,
on then.
maybe Germany's back in it. Maybe Germany's not dead like we thought.
All right, so I've moved forward a
Okay.
phase. So you
Nope. Oh no.
no, it
Oh,
looks like
okay.
Germany's
Nope. Never mind. Never
still
mind.
very much screwed.
Oops.
Italy tries to support whole Germany in Tyrolia. Yeah, no. Germany is not very interested in defending Italy here. He has to watch out for himself. Um,
All right. So yeah,
yeah.
there is an Austria, Italy. They worked out the details a little differently than I would have expected, but
Hmm.
still seems. Oh no! Turkey moved into the Aegean Sea from Smyrna, so that fleet in Greece had nowhere to go.
Oof.
That
That's
fleet got
painful.
popped. Oh, that is so big. Oh my God! If that fleet from Smyrna is in the Eastern Mediterranean, Fleet Greece retreats to the Aegean Sea, and Eastern Med can hold the Aegean Sea. That's not getting broken with only 2 fleets. Then Constantinople sits there. Turkey can leave his army in Armenia, and Turkey can hold. 3 thoughts. You can hold
Well,
that for a while,
Turkey would
unless the
only
Russian.
have 3 units, right? So he could have
Yes.
Constantinople, Aegean, Eastern, and hope that the Russian doesn't go into the Black Sea. That would be his play there.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and that just
losing Aegean
holds.
is huge.
But
He loses
now he's
Aegean
just broken.
immediately.
Oh my God, that is. Ugh.
Suddenly, Turkey's in a horrible position.
Yeah.
We've got Austria supporting Romania down into Bulgaria, so that kind of solves my concern about him being hemmed in. Austria's clearly going for the north side, which should be worrying Russia quite a lot.
Yeah, but what's Russia gonna do about it?
Russia can't do anything
Russia
until
has one army in the south. Just
and
he's a sitting duck.
useless fleet. He could try and help Turkey into Romania,
Yeah, maybe from here, but it doesn't. It doesn't look like he trusts Turk any farther than he can throw him.
Yep, and good reason as
Ah,
well.
all
Uh,
right, and yeah, so France and England actually, the
Kept
fleets
working
did not
together.
spook the Brit. He figured it out.
Hmm. He was potentially told about it in advance. I can only like that's
I believe they negotiated that.
yeah. But why would you negotiate that? I suppose so that he can attack the Italian with some force, because
Yeah, he can
clearly
now get into North Africa as well as Turanian.
England putting France in Holland is like Holland going to France in an Entente alliance is not that common. You would usually see England there, but England is in such a dominant position compared to France. It's great to guarantee that, to let the Frenchman catch up a bit so that he's
It's
not inclined
interesting
to
that
turn
we
on you.
say that. Just that I agree with you. I agree, but something to note: England and France are currently both on 6 centers.
Mm,
They're both on exactly 6 dots, and yet England feels so much stronger
yeah, it's
because of the
because
position that he has.
yeah, England's already all out on the front line there. France just has this tiny, compressed front line on the Belgian Burgundy Marseille front, and Marseille isn't even a unit on the front line. Um, so France would have to push through that choke point to get anything. That's what makes England's position so much more dominant. Except that England has put France in Holland. He's helping break that block, and he's giving the benefits of breaking that block to France. So that's
Well,
probably
the early
securing French
benefits.
French allegiance. Yeah,
I
he's almost
expect a
certainly getting
convoy
Kiel.
into Kiel to follow this up.
Yep, that would make sense. But it's definitely laying down the groundwork for a very strong alliance here. I could see these two just rolling over the board.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so. I like Austria's position too.
I'm I'm
And Italy salvaged things a bit, but that French attack looks pretty nasty.
I'm wondering what Russia was trying to do in the north. He would have
Maybe just
gotten
bounce everywhere.
he would have gotten Sweden if he didn't move St. Petersburg to Norway, but he probably couldn't have known that.
Yeah.
I think clearly, as Russia here, you don't want Germany to fall too quickly because you're the next English target, um, most likely. But this doesn't seem like the best way to do it. Just randomly ordering moves
Maybe
into
a support hold
Scandinavia.
Kiel is forthcoming.
Hmm. Except, yeah, yeah. Except it wouldn't hold anyway, right? It's got
With an army in Berlin, um,
we've got Berlin, Kiel, Munich, and Baltic. Okay, yes, it would hold.
I think he's in Ruhr. There's nobody in Kiel at the moment, I believe.
Oh,
I
he is
believe
in
it's
Rare.
Ruhr,
Yeah.
Berlin, Munich, and Baltic against Holland, Helgoland, Denmark on
Hmm.
Kiel.
So
So
Baltic probably supports Rare back into Kiel in this case.
yeah, or or they are greedy and Germany tries to support hold Ruhr and go for the guesswork
uh,
and have Berlin support Baltic into Kiel. Nope, that's a bad idea. That's a really bad idea. So
yeah.
the reason why is I was thinking that there is a guess here, but it's not really a guess because Holland currently there are enough units on Ruhr and Kiel that whichever one gets 3 is going to go down. If there's just too many units for England and France, and so if Holland supports oh, Holland's a fleet. Holland can't support that, so
Yep.
Holland has to go for Kiel. All right,
Yep.
ignore everything I said. I'm
Well,
a lunatic.
Holland is probably supporting a move into Kiel just because that
Yeah,
puts
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
English player on a
And
higher.
so if Munich supports Ruhr, then they're going to take Kiel, and if Munich supports Kiel, they're going to take Ruhr.
Mm,
And it's which would you rather lose, Ruhr or Kiel? Well,
that's why you
I
support
would
Rare
rather
back.
lose Ruhr in the fall of this particular board position, but maybe the Germans like, nah, I've had it, I'm out of here. Take Kiel, you can have everything you want.
Mm, that's yeah. But
All
it
right.
does seem like England France have this very much have a very strong position, very good position to push, and no real opposition right now. Which
Yeah, I think it's going to see if the Austrian can get big enough, quickly enough, to hold the remains of the German player.
yeah.
I think Austria's going to need to like get
So
2 builds this year and then a couple builds next year, and then he can just start holding down the German stalemate line.
I would not be surprised to see Vienna to Bohemia happen, just to try and prop.
Do you
Germany up a little
mean
bit.
Tyrolia to Bohemia? Currently, Austria is in Tyrolia,
Sorry,
right?
it is in Tyrolia. In which case,
Yeah.
there's no need to move to Bohemia. He's already there, but
No.
he's certainly not.
Are we going to see him take Venice
I really
after
doubt
Italy
he's
supports
taking
Austria into
Venice.
Tyrolia?
Like
I
taking
could see him
Venice.
taking Venice.
Taking Venice is very greedy, and it's not a good way to make sure that the Italian is going to hold back that that French
Potentially,
advance.
but I'm not sure he really cares about that. France takes Italy with a bunch of fleets, and Austria is this pure army power. Does he really care? He can use the French to support to stall the Turk, and he can kill all the Balkan centers. I don't think it's correct, but it's a potentially an option.
Something I haven't mentioned yet, I think. This game ends at the end of 1910. And whoever has the most centres at the end of 1910 wins. If it's a tie, then it goes by who scored the most in the previous rounds of the tournament, which I have a list of somewhere, but I haven't. I'm not going to consult it unless it looks likely that there'll be a tie.
I posted that actually in Twitch chat. I posted a list of all of the players, and I posted the order, the players in the order in which they are ranked in their performance in the regular tournament scoring. So you can read that and you can see, and we'll post it in the description of the video.
Yep.
When this goes on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it there. So if it looks like they're going to tie at 10 centers, it's that order is going to be the tiebreaker.
At 10 years, yeah. But yeah, I forget why I mentioned that in the first place. I think. Oh yeah, it's because
maybe talking about
it's
Austria's
timed.
solo chances.
Yeah, it's timed to 1910, so it's not about soloing. It's about having the most supply centers at that point.
Which, just so everyone is aware, that is two very different styles of gameplay.
Yep.
Because playing for a solo versus playing to be as big as possible are going to require two very different approaches to your strategic moves and alliance.
Yep. In your standard game, you're going to try. There's this line called the Major Stalemate line down. Where I'm drawing the line with the cursor at the moment. Your objective is usually, as most of the powers, to get one center past that line and have it in a holdable position while you consolidate all the rest, or at least set yourself up so that you can take that center. Because if you leave it too late to do that, all the other players on the other side of the board will just form a line that can't be broken against you, and you can't get to 18. But in this game, that's not a consideration, because the game's almost certainly not going to end in a solo. It's going to end in whoever has the most centers wins. And that's why Austria trying to take out Italy here, or take parts of Italy and be greedy, could potentially work, because it doesn't set him up to be in a good position to solo, but it does set him up to be in a good position to lead the board. Just because no one can attack him, and he's got plenty of growth opportunities around, even though France is also growing. But anyway, shall we move on to the next year?
Sounds good to me. Or the next turn, right? Still
yep.
1905 or 04?
Autumn 1904.
Hey, look at that. Austria, man out of my own heart. Take the dot. Take it. Take the money and run.
He didn't just take the dot. He also helped the Russian take Romania, just crippled the Italian completely.
While the Turk took Bulgaria, of course.
Ouch.
He only gained 1 dot from this, but hey, man, I guess he's made some friends.
He's also, the Italian is not in a position to defend Rome or Naples, and Austria is in a position to try and make a break for them, although it would be quite difficult to hold them against
the French Navy approaching
France.
And now there's So it's nice for France that it's the fleet in Romania. So France or Austria, excuse me. So Austria is not terribly threatened. Oh man, I'm so happy right now. All right, I want Austria to win this game. I've officially decided it. He deserves this.
Well, we don't have favorites here. We have to do the power rankings still. But
Power rankings. Austria. Austria is the strongest. Austria is
I
number one. Anyone who says differently, they are wrong, and I will fight. Oh, I will fight them.
let's just quickly have a look at England
Right.
flipping
So
on
the power
France
rankings,
again.
the power rankings without Austria, because
Wait,
it is too clear where he would fit.
Did you see England flipping on France
I
again?
did observe that there's now a another another stab.
I wonder if that was just to get rid of that fleet, or whether it was specifically to set him up to move against France, because he's not. I mean, yes,
He
it's
also moved back into the North Sea from the Skagerrak. He didn't need to be in the North Sea anymore. Nobody could border it, but now he still is.
Yep.
He could have convoyed into Kiel. The option was there, but he didn't take it.
I don't know that this is a good move for England. It's nice to get rid of that fleet, and it puts him in a decent position to make progress against France, but France is just going to rotate his 3 fleets back up again, and you're locked.
I agree. Although the way that France attacked Italy by using the Western Med might slow him down a little bit when he returns back to the north.
No, because he could only
pull back from North Africa.
He could only move back from one of North Africa or Western Med at once, right? Because he moves 1 unit to Mid Atlantic and 1 unit to Spain. In defense.
Oh yeah, but I was assuming he would take Tunis as well.
Oh yes.
Which he can't do now.
Yeah.
He could have taken Tunis potentially, depending on what the disbands happened. But actually, there's nothing bordering Tunis. But if he'd attacked Tyrrhenian Sea from Lyons and he had units in North Africa, Western Med, and Tyrrhenian, he could have supported himself into Tunis from Tyrrhenian and moved Western Med back into Mid-Atlantic Ocean. So take Tunis and defend yourself a little bit. But now he can only move back from North Africa, and he's going full-on defensive, and he doesn't get that build if he wants to move back as quickly as possible, of course.
Yeah, I really love how dynamic this West is, how much it's flipping, but I don't think it's a good thing for any of the players.
I think it was definitely suboptimal here from the British player. I think he just... I mean, okay, assuming it wasn't premeditated, if they did not discuss this, and if they didn't say, look, that fleet in Holland has to go, I'm going to disband it, and we're going to keep grinding.
Oh,
I hate that it had to happen now. They could have taken Kiel this turn anyways.
Though, because the whole thing about Holland supporting to Kiel, that was the thing that made me think, okay, this is definitely not planned.
Yeah, maybe he just said, you know what? Maybe he said, I will support you into Kiel. Take Kiel or disband me, up to you. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. I've input my moves.
Because one thing this does do is it makes that Entente look a lot less threatening. And if it keeps going, maybe they could get an advantage out of that, especially France in the south. If Italy is expecting him to move back and he doesn't, that's Italy in a lot of trouble.
Maybe I could see that being a negotiating potential.
But we'll see.
Yeah. So okay, the power rankings, excluding Austria from the power ranking, we've got
Why are we excluding Austria from the power rankings? Is it because
Austria would be so obviously first place? It's not fair to the rest of the nations. So
I don't know that he is. Assuming
I don't think Austria is first. England is first place in the power rankings.
I don't know that England is either. No. It really depends on whether this is a trick on the Entente's part or not. Because this flip doesn't make sense. It doesn't make enough sense anyway.
Because we can't see the diplomacy, I'm assuming England knew what he was doing when he made this flip here, and he either has assured German support or it's agreed with France, and it's not him going out on a limb to hope that Germany and Russia don't attack him or anything. I think
Mm.
I think he has a plan here, which is why I'm putting him in number one. If he doesn't have a plan, if you put everyone into this board, with the gunboats and no history, I would not put England as number one. But because of the way this board has gone, I do think he's in the strongest position. And I would not like to be proven wrong.
Yeah. All right. I can see why England would be in the strongest position if he is moving against France. I just don't
with
know
German
that
support.
he has.
With German support is the key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
but Germany's not going to support him forever. Germany will want to grow at some point, and the only centres he's got to grow into are the ones that England presumably wants to take.
But perhaps England can get Russia and that fleet in the Baltic to attack Germany before that can happen.
That could
so
work.
It might be a temporary one-year thing. Get Germany to help me with Belgium and with Burgundy, and then have Russia take Kiel or Berlin, and then we dispatch Germany while France has been neutered, and then break him myself.
I do think Austria is in a very strong position, just because the fleet.
There's no armies. Count the armies.
There's nothing. Bulgaria's gone. Venice is gone.
There's now a Turk in Bulgaria, right? There's a Turkish army in Bulgaria.
Yeah. Turkey is
but
there.
There's no Italian army anymore. There's one Russian army, and both German armies are probably locked in their own home front. And Austria has 5 armies, unless he builds a fleet in Trace. But I expect he's going to build armies.
And if
France built armies,
if France does have to turn around here, he's got free reign over Italy. There's very little the Italian can do to stop him with Adriatic, Greece, Tyrrhenian. I think Italy has 1 build. Am I right on that? Does he have? Yeah, because he's got Rome, Naples, Tunis, Greece, and he's only got 3 units left. So he will have 1 army to defend himself, but Austria could still make progress there, I think, and no one else is going to go
There's
forward.
enough guesswork going on that Italy's going to fall pretty quickly. All right, let's try to pick things up a little bit.
Wait, power rankings. So you think 1 England? Shall we go 1 England?
I think 1 England, 2 Austria.
Yep. 3. I think 3... France is still in a decent position. Probably
depending on Germany's alliance position here. If Germany's going to work with France, France 3. If Germany's going to work against France, France 4 or 5. France is in a really bad shape, I think, if Germany helps England against France here.
Russia seems in a safe-ish spot for the moment, but the moment Austria wants some of his centers, he's dead.
Yeah, it depends on the Russian build. If Russian builds an army in Warsaw, I will be happy with Russia's position. If Russia builds fleets of Sevastopol, I will be scared.
Yep, fleet Sevastopol would be
or anything
terrible.
on St. Petersburg.
Yeah, I think fleet Sevastopol, or any fleet would be a horrible build here. It's trusting the Austrian way too much. Yeah. So, power rankings, Italy's in last, right? Is that Italy or Germany? But I think Italy's more immediately under threat than Germany is.
Italy or Germany? It's so much of this solely depends on the negotiation between France and England here. If France pushes against Italy, Italy's definitely in the worst place. But if France pulls back, I think Italy can stall, right? Italy with a build and a fleet in the Adriatic can sit around and hold for a while and not die.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to builds.
Right. We haven't got conclusive power rankings then, but we gave a vague idea of what our thoughts there are. Fleet Trieste, that's Austrian getting a fleet on the board, which will help against Italy for sure. We've got Army Rome, which is expected. Fleet Brest, Fleet London, so they are probably going... Yeah, they're...
Fleet St. Petersburg, North Coast.
Oh, I did not spot that one. That's
a build.
That's a horrible build, isn't it? What?
That's good news for France.
It's very good
That's
news
what
for France.
What?
What does it give
What
the
is that?
Russian?
So okay, with the Austrian building Fleet Trieste, this move looks more sane. I would just assume there was going to be an Army Vienna or Army Trieste, in which case that fleet build just is asking for it.
Yeah.
He's just presenting himself to the Austrian. But here, Austria does not have 5 armies. He's only got a few. So maybe, all right, maybe he can put something together.
It's possible. We'll see how soon the Austrian goes after him. That's the question. He needs to get army builds before
he did pull
Austria
the army back
wants
into
to.
Moscow, I guess. How does he get a build with that unit, though?
He can't.
Is he, like,
right?
expecting...
It's just stalling. Maybe he just doesn't want England to win.
Maybe England pissed him off, but he worked with... whatever. It's too hard. Alright, these are the builds.
Alright, let's move on to the next phase then. Spring 1905.
Yeah, let's just get going. Oh man, Russia.
Right. Russia moving north with his army. I suppose that would be one way to get
when you build a fleet, St. Petersburg North Coast, you gotta make that move look good. So get your army involved.
Yep, but it's leaving him so open to the Austrian in the south. It's just maybe it's the right call, but
yeah, if Austria never stacks, it'll be great.
I also know Austria not really doing anything. He set Venice to convoy something. It looks like Venice convoy Venice to Venice. Yeah, that's
right.
He's not really making any progress. Just
well,
making sure
what
that
ended up happening? The Italian fleet in Greece was disbanded. I think that's an important piece of information here.
But
which I think counts as progress when he's attacking Italy.
But it's been replaced by a Turkish army, which is not good news for him.
Potentially much worse.
Especially without Russia making any real move against Turkey and having Sevastopol open, which shows he does trust
Turkey. And Turkey not making any move against Russia. Yeah. So maybe my favorite player in the world, this Austrian might have a hard time now with but Russia also didn't move into Galicia, so Russia might be trying to stay neutral and saying, "Look, you can hold Serbia forever. Just don't mind me. I'll sit here and you can do your own thing."
Yeah, but then what are they going to do about Turkey? Someone's got to deal with Turkey. Turkey's going to go after one of them.
I mean, yes, but that's a problem for the future. Yeah. We're not in the future. We're in the present.
Yes, France decides to go after Tunis instead of going back to the Mid-Atlantic, which is ballsy and probably the wrong move, I'd say.
We'll see.
Except
I think
he did
tactically speaking, he's okay.
Germany's turn on England again, so
yeah.
This is. I wonder how much of this is great play from the German in getting these two to flip on each other, or whether it's those two basically going to the German and saying, "Okay, I want to do this. You're with me. Yeah, let's go." Right, because the German has to take anything. If Germany is engineering this, Germany is a fantastic player. But either way, he's doing a lot better than I thought he was going to. Especially with that Russian unit supporting him into Denmark as well. He might end up being on 5 centres this round, which is pretty incredible given his position a couple of rounds ago. What else have we got?
I think we about covered the tactics for this turn.
Okay, so I might let's just skip on to the next round then. There's not a huge amount to discuss apart from alliances, and the only place it doesn't seem to make sense is in the Balkans down here. I'd be very interested to see how this turns out, because right now Turkey is just making progress, and it looks like everyone wants to be friendly with everyone, but Turkey is going to attack one of them. So I'm gonna move it on to autumn 1905 here. Go with okay. Trying to decide which part here to look at first. England obviously trying to get back Denmark, not successfully at all, because Germany and Russia working together to stop him. That's a huge amount committed to that move that's not going anywhere. Barons headed to Norwegian. That's pretty fantastic from the Russian here. I would probably have supported Moscow to St. Petersburg to make sure it got in, because I didn't think there was a lot Norway could do except bounce him there. But going to Norwegian puts him in such a nice position to attack the English home centres. This is just great. I don't know whether he'll actually be able to keep anything there, but right now it's about making the most out of that build and making sure that build pays for itself, puts another unit back in Russia before it gets horribly murdered. And that's what taking Edinburgh would do. That's what taking Liverpool would do. It's what taking maybe even Norway would do here if he manages to somehow slip in there. Where else have we got things? We've got a
here, and he's now in Tuscany and Venice. So he's got 2 on Rome.
Yep.
And still has his guy on Venice, and is not in any danger of losing anything still.
Yep.
But the big concern for Austria is, I think, that move from the Black Sea into Constantinople by the Turk.
Yes.
I think that's just saying...
Unless there's some kind of RAT alliance going on.
Yeah, an Eastern Triple in 1905, the classic, pretty standard textbook. Everyone's aware of this alliance.
Why is Bulgaria supporting Ukraine to Romania? What was he expecting Romania to do?
I think it's just Bulgaria was going to hold. Might as well put something fun in there.
Maybe, but he might have. But that move is also saying, because if he wanted to side with the Russian here, he enters a support hold for Romania, right? To make sure that there's no chance of the Austrian taking it.
Or what it could be is he expected Russia to cover Sevastopol by moving Romania back, and this way Austria can't take Romania if Ukraine shuffles in to backfill.
I think Turkey definitely prefers this if there's an army in Ukraine instead of a fleet there, for obvious reasons. So maybe he was just trying to get...
Is one of those obvious reasons the potential for a fleet build in Sevastopol in the future? Because that's another reason.
Yeah, that's definitely a reason. The other one is just that Russia can attack Austria from that position, which he can't right now.
I think that fleet in the St. Petersburg really meant Russia is not attacking Austria anytime soon.
Yep. What do you think of the north up here? France supporting Western Med.
A lot of tactics, pretty standard tactical moves this turn.
Yeah. France taking Tunis turned out to be very much the right move, I think, because he didn't need the units on defense here. The build is infinitely more valuable.
Infinitely is a strong word, but definitely more valuable.
Not infinitely more valuable, but you know what I mean. Getting the extra build back there, basically, it's not exactly...
like he pulled his army back. He just has to build it. He has a unit there. He just has the guy in Tunis.
It's not like he pulled the fleet back, because otherwise he could have a unit in North Atlantic Ocean by now. But what it is, like, it means he can put an army in Marseille potentially, which might be the best call here.
Or Paris,
Paris and try and convoy it across the UK. I'm wondering how much he's worried about this apparent non-aggression pact between the Eastern powers seems to be holding for the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. He's got
Mm.
Germany between him and the north, and he's got 2 fleets, which can hold Tyrrhenian Sea for a while now.
Yeah. So do you reckon he's likely to send Marseille to Piedmont to try and screw up Austria's taking of Italy, or not?
Well, first we need to expect him to build an army in Marseille.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Build Marseille and then go to Piedmont, as opposed to...
If he builds Marseille, I think he's going to Piedmont for like 80-85% of the time.
Hmm.
How likely do I think it is he builds Marseille? I'm not sure. I think so. I think he'll do that. I think he will build an army Marseille and move to Piedmont. That's my thing. How about you, Mr. Meme?
Yeah, I would expect Marseille as well. I think the potential of, like, the main advantage of the Paris build would just be the ability to convoy it into the UK. And right now, with England having an army in the UK, and a bunch of fleets right next to it, that's not going to be a particularly valuable move anytime soon for him. It's much more valuable to try and stop the Austrian growing as fast as he's going to in this Italian peninsula, especially considering the Austrian can just run headlong into Germany as soon as he has the armies to do so.
Well, Germany did get 2 builds, so...
Oh yes, he did. Okay, he
Germany is
can't
better
do that.
defended than it seems.
That's also another thing. Does the Frenchman well, of course the Frenchman has to watch out for Germany coming after him again now, right?
Yeah, the merry-go-round.
Germany suddenly has the strength to not just prop up and support other people. He's got the strength to make his own moves again and start expanding without the help of other people if he needs to.
Alright, builds, I think Fleet Smyrna, I think Army Marseille, I think... Do you think Germany's building a fleet?
I mean,
I think so.
I kind of liked an army Berlin here just because of the potential to just grab Warsaw.
I think if he attacks Russia, he's in pretty bad shape. And Russia is pretty committed against England with him.
That is true.
So I would...
But Germany has
say,
been...
let's work with the Russian here.
Flipping a bit. What's the benefit of Fleet Berlin? Because it's trapped in by Fleet Baltic. It has no way to push past that point.
There would need to be a shuffle.
It could try and rotate into Kiel, but then one fleet is not going to do very much against this English horde.
I agree. It would need to go from Baltic into Bothnia. Would need to be the shuffle that occurs for this to work.
Yeah, so working with the Russians.
Continue working with the Russian, and I would like to work with the Russian from this position as Germany. I would just say, you're so committed against England now. England smacked me around a little bit. Let's do it.
Do you not want to attack France at all as the German then? Because you have those 3 armies on this front line. You could do it.
True, but France has 3 armies as well.
Yeah, that's
Army Marseille.
That's actually also the potential benefit of Paris, is that it could go up to Picardy and support whole Belgium against German incursion.
Yep.
But then you end up with a guessing game between Belgium and Burgundy, so I don't know whether that's worth it anyway.
It's always exciting. Plus, with the English fleet in the English Channel, relying on the support from Picardy is usually a bad idea.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd have to get England back on side again, which I don't think it's impossible.
It does not seem unreasonable. I think before the end of the game, England and France will work together.
Okay, that's your prediction.
That's another hard prediction that I am putting in here. They are not going to fight this war to the end of the game, or until one of them dies. Even I think they're going to work together before somebody dies.
I think that's very true, but we will see how accurate that is. Shall we move to the next round?
Yeah.
Yeah, so winter 1905. We've got Helgoland Bite getting disbanded. That's totally reasonable here, I think. It's not really doing anything now that it can't attack any of the German centres. We did get that Fleet Berlin. So
yeah, but we got the Army Paris.
we got Army Paris as well.
Looks like we know what we're talking about, eh?
I think that's more of a defensive build from France than a I want a convoy into the UK build. Just because of that German potential threat. But we'll see there. Army Smyrna. That's an interesting one.
If we were in face-to-face, I would say that was a misorder.
I don't know that it is. Like, what's he
I
gonna
think
do with 3
online
fleets?
it can't be. Online, I think it's absolutely intentional. But I would just be assuming so much that was a fleet. I wouldn't even think about it.
You could convoy into Greece as you try and attack Serbia, but I don't think that's going to work. You could also try and go to Albania and convoy into Greece here. I think it's... And of course there's the potential to go after Sevastopol as well. So Turkey has options with this. He has the Conq to Blat, Smir to Arm, which would put a significant amount of pressure on the Russian. Or he can try and set up to stop this Austrian, which is, I think, maybe the better call, given that Austria is going to be so dominant here. Is that all there is to talk about on builds? Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, let's just move on to spring 1906 then. Alright. We're halfway there. It's been 2 hours. This is probably going to be a lot longer than our World DipCon coverage, but it's been a hell of a game with a lot of flipping and flopping so far.
A lot of chaos.
A lot of chaos. I love chaos. That's very much my thing. But yes, what are we seeing here? We're seeing an attack against Russia from the Turks, supported by Austria. So that was what that build was about.
And simultaneously, Austria didn't take Rome?
No, they rotated units?
Yeah, Austria rotated Trieste into Adriatic and Venice into Trieste. Tried to pull Tuscany out into Venice. Looks like he tried to make peace with the Italian. And
I
Italy
guess he was expecting Italy to go to Apulia with Adriatic.
It seems like, but instead, Austria's going to have to commit everything to retaking Venice, and Italy's going to lose Naples.
And Austria can quite easily retake Venice, but yes, France is getting...
He has to use all the units.
France is getting an advantage here, and Austria hasn't gained anything. He's just taking back the same thing he already had. France also pushing England back in the north. We do see that German, maybe not an attack, but definitely setting up that line, probably to make a strike at the French units there. Berlin trying to rotate out into Baltic, maybe hoping Baltic would go to Bothnia, but Baltic supporting whole Denmark seems to indicate there was some kind of miscommunication. Yeah.
Bounce to Norway, and Russia's getting pushed back.
Germany does get into Sweden, which is an interesting position for him.
Yes.
I think he'd prefer to be in
pretty
Baltic
good position, generally.
Yeah, but he's got nothing to hold Denmark, right? He's got to hope it just bounces with a bunch of stuff or send his own unit back to it.
Sweden can still move back to Denmark.
Yeah, that's probably the right call.
Unless Germany and Russia support each other in. Seems like it'll be fine.
Yeah. But, yeah, England's north is getting demolished. England's south is being pushed back. England's on the back foot, and France
But
has a
with that German move into Ruhr, perhaps France decides, okay, we've had it. Let's make peace and let's call it a draw.
Yep, that's
you
possible.
Spin my head right round.
And tries to get North to support him into Holland or something. It's
yeah. I mean, there are any number of ways they can work together. But just
I don't know if there's that many effective ways, because if North does anything except supporting hold Norway here, it's Norway's gone, right?
Yeah, but you can lose Norway. It's not critical.
He can. Does he want to? Does he want to in order to help France into a province? That doesn't seem like a great trade on his part.
No, but maybe France helps him into Holland instead.
Potentially. That could work. Especially if it's a convoy from Yorkshire.
Actually, if I were France, even attacking England, I would still make that support. Just get that army off of the mainland, and while I'm supporting that, move into North Atlantic Ocean. Just get him.
Yep. And hope that the English fleet gets stuck in Finland there. That's would
a
be
real
nice
nice place for an English fleet in a war against France. That's only, let's see, 1 year, 2 years, two full years from England's, or from the French home centers, or the English for that matter.
With an unblocked path, yeah, except there's a German unit in the way, so that's...
Well, there's a German unit in Sweden, there's a Russian unit in the Baltic Sea, there's another British unit in Norway, and a Russian unit in the Norwegian. Like, it's just... Yep. Getting out of Finland is not a trivial task.
I think that most likely gets disbanded the moment he loses a centre.
Probably getting popped.
But if France were to support England into Holland, England wouldn't lose a centre this turn. Or at least, if he loses Norway, Norway gets popped, so he doesn't get a build anyway, right? Wait. Sorry. I need to... so he doesn't get a disband anyway, because it's a forced disband on Norway. This is going to be interesting. In the south, we already talked about parts of this, right? I'm wondering...
Yep, and then we just see Turkey and Austria working together.
I'm wondering what
so Russia's going to collapse.
Austria's thinking, because he gains nothing from Turkey getting
Maybe
there, right?
He's going to get Greece or Bulgaria or Romania.
Potentially.
Maybe he just gets one of the dots from Turkey.
Yeah, that could be the case. I think Turkey's going to do very well out of this deal.
I think so too.
And Austria getting frustrated by the Italian is not high up on the tier list anymore. But we will do the tier list next turn. Let's move on to...
I would have expected Austria to take Rome here.
Yes, I would as well. And it would have worked depending on which way he
It was
goes.
guarantee, right? If he just supported Venice into Rome from here. Okay, unless France support held Rome. He could have done
not
that.
necessarily. You can do...
If Trieste moves to Adriatic Sea as well, yeah?
Yeah, it is guaranteed with that. He might lose Venice, but he can easily retake it, so that's...
You retake it, you got 3 on Venice, so...
Yep. I understand where he was coming from, trying to make peace with the Italian and hold back the Frenchman, but clearly
I would have
backfired
just cut
horribly.
the dot.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how the Austrian-Turk alliance goes.
All right. I think it's going to go well for Turkey. It is going well for Turkey, is it? Austria got Romania.
Austria got Romania and Rome and retook Venice.
How did he get the Frenchmen to support him into Rome? What is France doing?
He's a god. Holy.
What's the...
I mean, why not, right?
I guess...
Okay, once Italy's dead, right? This way he has an ally in the east. Austria's got other things to worry about.
Yeah.
So Austria built 2.
Yeah, but why?
Didn't we just say Austria wasn't looking too hot? Like Turkey was getting everything from this?
What's he expecting Austria to do with those builds? Is he hoping that
army and fight Turkey, I guess.
I'm wondering if he's expecting Austria to come up and tap Munich for him or something, but it's just...
I'm not sure what France is getting out of this
I don't think I don't think that
Maybe
Austria's
just
gone
pressure on
to-
Germany. I think it's just as simple as that.
Mm.
Army Vienna, Army Trieste. There's suddenly 2 on Munich next turn. Boom. There goes Germany.
Mm. Yeah. I think France is not making a great call here. I think this just makes the Austria-Turkey alliance more likely to work. Like, those two can just stick together and keep going. It's an awkward alliance to work around. Austria-Turkey is not a common alliance for that reason.
Something to see about misorders. Sorry, while we're talking about this. Look at Sweden.
Oh,
Supporting Norwegian Sea into Sweden. And not, I repeat, not the Norwegian Sea into Norway.
that looks
Which is
deliberate.
pretty important.
To me. That looks very deliberate
Oh
to me.
my god. That just denied the Russian a build.
Mm.
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, yeah, it looks deliberate to me, right? It didn't just deny the Russian a build, it lost... Did it lose Russian St. Petersburg? No, it didn't lose Russian St. Petersburg.
It didn't
He
affect
was
Russian
losing
St. Petersburg, but...
that anyway.
Ooh.
But, yeah,
Oh, man.
it would be a solid tactic there to just say, yeah, I'm putting you in and then
Oops.
let
I haven't
England keep
studied
it.
Scandinavian geography. I can't tell them apart. They all are blondes, blue eyes. Like I thought they were Swedish, man. But, oh jeez. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. I'll get you next time. Oh wait, you don't have any units anymore because you lost Romania, Sevastopol, and St. Petersburg, so you can't do anything about this after I didn't help you. Oh, that's my bad. I'm real sorry, man.
Poor Russia.
Oh god.
Germany does get the extra build here from Sweden.
Yeah.
Unlike
Didn't
the Russian.
cost him anything to support Russia in the Norway. I guess he just didn't. Oh.
Yeah. I think it's
I'm
about
curious if that was
bolstering.
actually a miss.
I think it's about bolstering the person who can actually hold off Germany's biggest threat right now, which is France. Although Germany's biggest threat is probably Austria now instead.
I think they seem to both be allied, so
yeah,
maybe both, right? And he's saying, sorry, Russia, you've done your job, but you're getting crushed, so get out of here.
And yeah, give the unit to someone more able to use it to help Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
France did not get into the North Sea, but tried to. If that had worked, that would be painful for England, to say the least. And England manages to deflect France's advancement into the Irish Sea.
Could you imagine if Germany had instead supported the North Sea into Norway? Oh my god.
That would have been an interesting spot.
And there's a France in the North Sea. Oh my god. And that's a misorder that can totally happen. Because North Sea
and
you can miswrite NTH and oh god. That would be that'd be great.
Yep. Alright.
Anyways, so Austria's in great shape now. Got those builds that he needed. Turkey's doing okay. The war between him and Austria is going to be interesting. If those French fleets help Austria, I think he's going to win the war, and if not, I think it'll be.
See, I don't think even necessarily those two have to fight, right? They could just, as I said, Austria-Turkey is awkward to work around, but Turkey could try and go around.
I think three armies is too much. I think that the Turk having 3 armies is just insurmountable.
But they could, those armies can go into Russia, and one of them is in Ukraine already.
Yeah, but Turkey's got 4 on Romania. That happens to be Austrian. And I would expect them to fight right now. Here, throw down.
Fighting is the obvious move, yeah, but I think working together could benefit them both in the long run.
Yeah, and this Austrian player has showed that his tongue is fantastic. He's gotten himself out of some tight spots. So maybe they're going to work together. If I'm Austria, I'm looking at the tactics for this war, and I'm getting all ready for a long one.
All right, shall we move on to the builds and then do power rankings, or should we skip power rankings?
I'd say let's skip power rankings. Let's just get some moves in.
So
maybe get through a year and a half a little more.
Onto the build.
More quickly.
We've got Army Vienna, Army Budapest. That's absolutely reasonable. It does mean he's not going Fleet Trieste, which I suppose is fine. He doesn't need Fleet Trieste anytime soon. That would be for a longer game. Maybe he's intending to use France's fleets as his, essentially, in the war against Turkey.
And then he can use his armies to help France against Germany. So France gives him fleets in the south, he gives France armies in the north, and they call it a day. 2
northern Russian fleets come off the board. That's absolutely reasonable. It's, if he wants to survive, maybe he should just be hitting random centers in the north, but like his best chance of growing again after he gets pushed back. No, I think there's not really any justification you can have for keeping those 2 fleets. I'm just trying to find one.
Trying to pay Germany back for his
that would be
deceitful nature.
Because Russia's not winning this anymore. I mean,
that seems difficult with only 3 years.
4 years, because we've got 1907, 1908, 1909, 1910. Yeah, but it's still, this is not a position you could get back to.
Nope. All right. So with these builds, I'm thinking we're gonna have Turkey attack Romania. I'm thinking France is taking Ionian. I'm not gonna try to make any guesses about what Germany's gonna do here.
Yeah.
Probably work with England.
Shall we skip on to the next year then and just have a look at what they actually did?
I wonder. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens.
Alright. Spring 1907. We've got Germany, I think, predicting that Austria is going to come after him, moving Berlin down to Silesia.
Well, if he was predicting that, I would have expected him to move Munich into Bohemia or Tyrolia.
Oh yeah, that would.
I think this was maybe a greedy maneuver, looking after Warsaw. Maybe with English, he's saying, "Look, you can get into Livonia, I'll be in Silesia, and we can take Warsaw together." Like best buddies.
Yep. Turkey's indeed going after Austria, taking Romania. And trying to convoy into Greece, not successfully, but
with a good use of Romania. See, that army in Romania both needed Turkey to support himself into Romania, and it also defended Greece. That army did double time.
Yep. Greece is gone if France and Austria were... No, it's not. It's got 3 units around it. 3 enemy units, 3 friendlies.
I only see... Greece got... Constantinople got bounced out of Greece.
It didn't get in, so it's got... Yeah, Greece is gone, yeah. If France sticks with Austria.
Yeah, Greece is gone. Romania is gone with it. But if Turkey doesn't get a build, which I don't think Turkey will.
Romania, but losing Greece, so I don't see any
and no disbands. So this means that there's going to be the fleet majority in the south by enough. That's Aegean might finally fall in 1908. Not something you see every year, every game.
We will see.
Right, Belgium went down because it looks like England and Germany are deciding to work together now.
Yep.
Demilitarizing the north, and they're going to just push against France, but they're not going to make any progress anymore because France can hold English Channel and he can hold that stalemate line on the land. So now there is a stalemate in the north until England gets more fleets back.
Yeah, and England doesn't look like he's looking to rotate fleets back, putting that Finnish fleet in St. Petersburg.
Yep, and not even getting the German fleet, it's moving into the Baltic Sea, so...
What is St. Petersburg to Livonia trying to do? Maybe Germany's
think
move
with
into
Silesia,
Cilicia
right?
was to try and make a move on Warsaw here.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think Germany's gonna be in. He's happy to be in Silesia because he can still support Hold Munich and hope the stalemate. Oh, but there's a retreat into Galicia.
Yep.
So no, Munich is probably going down.
Depends whether Austria wants to use that unit on the Turkish front or not.
What does he need it to do on the Turkish front?
Well, Budapest is empty. Oh, that can be defended from Vienna. It could move into Austria could rotate back round into Ukraine and Galicia from Bohemia and just give up the attack on Germany.
He could, or he could just say, "I'm not going to guarantee a capture in Munich. We'll see if I can get it. Anyways, I might just take it."
Yeah. Well.
All right, but just a lot of tactics here, right?
Sure.
We have the alliances: France, Austria against England, Germany. Turkey and Russia are working together, and Austria, France are working against them too.
Yeah, well, I don't know whether whether Russia's actually working with Turkey so much as they're just not caring about each other at the moment.
Sure,
but,
fair.
Yeah,
they're both trying to survive and fight.
Well,
the encroach.
Turkey's trying to grow. Russia is trying to survive. Yeah.
Well, with 3 fleets in the south against your 1, I think Turkey is in the fight for his life too.
Yeah, but they're not 3 fleets from the same power. There's always some potential to turn them on each other there.
There's always some hope. You're right.
Especially France is not looking to get much out of this unless Austria puts him in Greece, which I don't know whether that's likely. I guess.
Alright, just on everything... sorry, I went ahead to the next turn. I skipped ahead.
That's fine.
Solid, we just...
Autumn 1907. We have the Austrian fleet going into Greece here. That's expected.
And German supporting the Austrian into Warsaw, while the Turk supports the British into Moscow.
What?
Yep.
Did people just go, like, alright, let's have a peace treaty here, everyone attack Russia for a turn, and then we'll go back to being at war again?
Yeah, seems like that happened.
Why? Russia's are 2 units that they could have both used against each other. I guess maybe the Turk thinks that England might be more friendly to him than Russia would.
And Austria moves back to Rome. Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't know what's happening.
So the
and
Austrian...
I'm not gonna try.
The Austrian lost Serbia, which is huge.
Yep.
He could have cut Romania from Galicia and tried to hold it, but I imagine
yeah, but he took
was
Warsaw with
expecting...
Galicia anyways, so...
I imagine he was expecting Romania to go in anyway. So
yeah, and it does give Turkey that fleet build, which, as you said, is pretty important.
Well, Turkey gets 2... No, he still gets 1, because he's got Greece lost.
Only the 1 build, yeah. But Austria gained 2, losing 1, so +1.
Yep.
And Germany is +1. And England is...
England did
+1?
nothing. Got nothing this round, right?
Moscow.
Did he? Oh yeah, he did get Moscow. Okay.
So France is down 1 and Russia is down 2.
Yeah, we see absolutely nothing on the west side of the board apart from that convoy Denmark to Prussia, which shows that that Germany wants more units on that front, and the attempted support of Wales to London to try and get England to turn around, I guess, but that's not...
Yeah, so currently Germany is allies with England and Austria. Austria is allied with France and Germany.
Yep.
England is at war with France, allied with Turkey. Maybe allied or just got support for a single turn, who knows? And Turkey's at war with Austria.
Yep.
Alright, I like Austria's position. Allied with everyone, only 1 enemy, and that enemy does not seem particularly strong.
That enemy is making progress.
Maybe. Yes, some progress was made, but
he is
Serbia can get
relying.
recaptured.
He's relying on French support in order to get any further, right?
Yes.
We'll have to see whether
I think that's a
France
pretty safe bet,
decides
though.
that's a
Although
good
maybe
thing or
with
not.
Austria pulling away from Germany, France decides it's not worth it anymore, but...
Yeah, because what's France getting out of this? He's getting nothing.
Yeah, unclear.
Maybe he just thinks that Turkey will be too strong if he doesn't, but I don't think that's the case. I think Turkey will get stuck. But we should move on to the next phase, because this is going to be a lot longer than our last video by the look of it.
Yeah, again, these last turns might be just a little more tactics, and we can start rushing through them a little bit.
Probably, given
if
they know
these turns are an indication.
They know when the exact end date is, so the last few years will just be them thinking, how can I get the most centres immediately?
Yeah, and deny my rivals the most centres.
Yes.
All right, Fleet Liverpool, yep. Fleet Smyrna, yep.
Alright, yeah.
Did Austria wave?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he's break even. He lost Serbia and Romania, so.
Of course. I miscounted.
And then gained Greece and Warsaw. Yeah, all of these builds seem to have kind of expected.
Yeah.
Germany building an army means that he's probably sticking with England still.
Yep.
Yep.
And that fleet seems like he's going to break France, so France's hold on the English Channel might finally get broken, pushing France back.
I should point out, I think your prediction that England and France would start working together has not come true yet.
There's still time. There is still time. And
Yep.
Okay, just the reason why I said that was because of exactly this. Neither of them are getting anything from this war. Both of them are sitting here staring at each other saying, I'm not going to get a dot. Are you going to get a dot? I'm not going to get a dot. Are you going to get a dot? And they've thrown this back and forth for 2 years now or whatever. And I would have expected them to say, all right, neither of us are going to get anything from this. Let's just slap this German around, put him back in his place with his one fleet, and then we can kill him and then go back to killing each other, or even the game will be over by then. But no, it doesn't look like they're going to work together again. I think after all of the flipping, I predicted they would continue to flip, and of course, that's when they stopped flipping.
Yep. Fleet Liverpool is going to let England make a tiny bit of progress into the English Channel. That might be enough to start tipping the balance if Germany keeps
the
working.
English Channel is a big deal, but is he going to get a dot in the next 2 years? The
only way I see England getting a dot is if Germany leaves Denmark undefended and England just convoys in, right?
That seems like a pretty natural dot, yeah.
But
all right, and then in the south, and in the east, I should say, if France works with Austria, Turkey is just going to start getting pushed back pretty badly.
Yep.
And if not, then it'll be a pretty good war. I think France will help Austria.
Yep, maybe. Bear in mind, France is doing this to try and become the border leader. He clearly sees that. He's clearly intending that Austria doesn't end up on as many census as he does. So I think he will.
Yeah, they can end on the same centers. It's important to note. Austria has loses the tiebreaker to France.
Right, but
so same centers is okay, but he does need to be close to the same strength.
At the end of the day, I think his objective is to try and balance this so that neither of them make progress. But we'll see how
effective he is. He could also get centers himself, which would solve the problem.
Yes, but he can't get centers he can hold. And having centers you can hold is going to be quite important when it comes to the last couple of years when people are just going, okay, there's a center.
Just dotting everyone.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, let's move to the spring.
Let's see it.
Spring 1908.
Ooh, all right. England supporting Austria into Ukraine.
So that Turkey putting England in Moscow is not working out very well for him.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh god, there goes the Turk. Pop.
Wow. Let's see here. The Turk tried to take Greece. Presumably...
He did take Greece, I
Oh,
believe.
he did take Greece. Yeah. Okay.
Greece was not being support held. It actually wouldn't have mattered even if it was, but yeah.
That's
So we lost to Serbia. Romania was popped, and Austria is also in Ukraine. So there's 3 on Sev, with only Black Sea adjacent. There are.
What was? Oh, okay, yeah.
One, 2, 3, 4 on Greece, with only 2 adjacent. So Bulgaria can pick. Oh god. I think Turkey might just lose everything.
See,
Greece and Sevastopol.
I don't think France should be standing for that. I think France should try and push back against Austria, especially given Austria clearly has England's support too now.
I think we can support France into Greece. Is the point?
That might have been the intent. Yeah, no, that probably is the nicest move for him there. But then he stands a chance of losing Ionian, and then Tunis goes, right?
That would be bad.
Yeah.
But he's in mid-Atlantic, so he can still pull. I mean, maybe not.
It depends if he can.
I would be expecting support into Greece.
We are seeing
if I was France here.
England is maybe choosing to work with France here, so maybe your prediction is right because he's moving on Sweden.
Yes, and that convoy to Norway.
He's guaranteed to take Sweden.
Yeah.
Maybe
he's into St. Petersburg, and he's going to try to get more armies into Russia.
That's possible. But then
I don't anticipate him.
Wouldn't you have taken English Channel while you had the units there to stop it retreating if you were pressing against France still?
He didn't have the units on it last turn. He still only had 2 fleets on it. He needed to get Liverpool into Irish.
That's true, and that.
But maybe you'd keep London there so that he can't retreat into Wales and mess with your backline. Oh well. But yeah, I expect Sevastopol and Greece to both fall.
I still want to see
falling soon after.
I still really want to see England working with France here, and just
I do too.
Using this as an opportunity to attack Germany. I think that is what he's doing. It could be that he's pushing units into St. Petersburg, but if he is, I think that's a mistake.
I hope so too. I think we'll see it.
Yeah, Germany not making any progress. So
he got into Warsaw.
Oh yeah, on that side, yes. He's making a little bit of progress, but he's probably losing Sweden, so he's not.
But against France, there's no progress to be made. It's just you can't break that stalemate line on the land.
And he can't go against England because he's got no fleets. Well, he's got just the one.
The one. All right, let's see it.
Next round, autumn 1908. Germany pulling back against England. That's understandable. Although England wasn't
fully committed. He didn't support himself.
I don't think England. Why did he go to St. Petersburg at all? Is it so that he could support Moscow against this double German move?
Maybe he was worried about. No, I don't know.
But yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's worked out quite well for England on the whole, because he's got the units to hold his province in Moscow. He's also got the unit in Denmark, another unit in North Sea. So he did get the extra build made up with France, presumably. Although I don't know why Irish... Oh, Irish probably tapped Mao to stop a Mao...
Stop any shenanigans.
Convoy route or being set up or something similar. But
and in the east, it's about what we expected. Greece, Serbia, and Sevastopol and Romania are all owned by Austria or France. In the case of Greece.
France gets put into Greece, and Turkey does take the Ionian Sea. So Turkey has free access to Tunis. This is
in this turn, but France can set himself to retake it if Turkey
especially
goes for
with the Englishman now working with him.
Yep. All right. Does this count as them working together? I'd say this counts as England and France working together. I'm going to call success.
Let's wait one more time, because I think this counts as England working with France. I don't think we've seen whether France is accepting that or not. But
All
yes,
right,
I
sure.
think it's likely.
And before Fleet Brest, then it all falls apart.
All right. Let's move to the builds then.
Let's do it.
Winter
Oh
1908.
my god.
Fleet Brest. I mean, it's maybe not an anti-English move. It's maybe to
maybe
rotate
it's a fleet
south.
for the Mediterranean again.
It also might just be a fleet to backfill the Mid-Atlantic Ocean after Mid-Atlantic Ocean goes to
it seems
Western
reasonable.
to hold.
There just happens to also be Fleet London to go along with it. Yeah, okay. I expect them to just double support English Channel and double support and attack in English Channel and just say, all right, we're going to keep doing this for a while and nobody can do anything.
Yeah. England can still take Sweden, so England gets one more build out of this whole thing, and that might be enough to crack the line. But Germany is not very happy with him right now, so he's not going to get any further than that.
So currently, there's the current center count, which I think starts to matter now because it's 1908 or 1909.
Okay.
So France has 3 home, 2 from Iberia, Tunis and Naples for 7, plus Greece as a tentative 8th.
Yes.
England has 3 home, Norway, Denmark, St. Petersburg for 6, Moscow for 7, and Sweden for a pretty solid 8, except Moscow is a tentative one because there's still a lot on it. So that's a little suspicious, right? They're both at 7 with a tentative 8th.
Yes. Germany has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Moscow for a tentative 7th.
Yes, and
he's got Sweden, but that's not going to hold. So
he's got Sweden, but that's
it might hold. He might, England might just decide to make peace with him to cut some sort of deal that keeps Moscow.
Yeah, but then how does England get enough builds? I don't see how that's happening.
That's probably
Okay, and then Austria, I think, is the big one here, right?
Yep.
Austria's got 3 home, 2 Italian for 5, 2 Balkan for 7, and Sevastopol for 8.
Yes.
And Sevastopol's a little potentially suspect, but the rest are all solid.
Yes, and I think if France keeps supporting Austria at all, then Austria will be in a position to take Greece off him as well. But
even if not, I think Austria's at the point where he no longer needs the French support.
Yeah, well, that's probably true. Yeah, he can give up Sevastopol here to just take Greece easily.
Take Bulgaria
or to take
and Greece.
Bulgaria easily, yeah, and just solidify that front. I think
Austria's got this.
My power ranking would have Austria in first here.
Austria in first and everybody else behind. And that's all that matters. I think Austria's just got it.
France's holdings. France can't grow anywhere, as far as I can see.
Not reasonably, and not unless magic.
England,
like crazy magic,
can't grow anywhere unless the two of them work together to push
England and
into
France
Germany.
stab Germany. If England and France both attack Germany right now, how big can they get?
They can get bigger than Austria, I think, because they can both get. It's hard with so many German units up here.
I think German would just pick whoever wins. He would say, if you guys attack me, I will make sure that because he can deny one side centers from here, and their attack. Germany could just say, I'm going to give England all my centers, or I'm going to give France all my centers, and that player would win, and the other player would lose. And I think that's Germany's line here, is to say, look, you guys can't attack me because you guys have to coordinate on it. Neither you can break me yourself, and I'll throw it to their guy.
Yep. I don't know if they'd even make much progress against Germany. They could make.
I think with their fleet
certainly
superiority.
hit Belgium and Holland, right?
Yeah, but they also take the Baltic Sea. They just take the Baltic Sea from Denmark.
Oh yeah, that's but
And
Baltic
then,
could just retreat into Sweden, play around with
yeah, but
England's back.
then we're still in the North Sea, Denmark.
Yeah.
Like it's
The thing you have to
He-
consider with an alliance like England-France this late is
yeah,
that
maybe they
both of
just
them,
stab for gods.
both of them are thinking, I have to be the one who comes out on top on this alliance. So that alliance is going to be so delicate. Like the slightest imbalance would just it would just stop and they go
And I
after
mean,
each
it's,
other again.
maybe it goes even beyond imbalance, right? What's the order? I think England is ahead of France. So France must have a dot more than England. Even if they tie, England would win. So they can't even be even.
So it's very possible they don't even set that alliance up just because it's so difficult to keep going.
Because
But
they
I think
cannot,
if they
know that they can't both win.
I think that Austria has this one unless they do set up that alliance.
I think so too. All right, let's
Yeah.
just
Let's move
let's
on.
see it. All right.
Spring 1909, so the second to last year of the game. We've got
Doesn't look like it to me.
we've got a non-aggression between the two of them, but it's not
That's
an
not
alliance
enough.
that's pushing into Germany. It's just an alliance that's saying, I'm not going after you. Which, yeah, it's not enough.
All right, and then Austria took
Austria
Bulgaria.
successfully pushed
Is
into
all set
Bulgaria.
to take Greece.
I think France needed to try and prop up Turkey here, even if he couldn't really do it. It needed to work.
Yeah.
He does have the option of supporting the Tyrrhenian Sea into Rome, which is a good option, I think.
He needs. Oh, I'm sorry. Naples. Yes, he can support Tyrrhenian Sea and Rome. You're right.
Yes. So Austria's count goes down by 1.
But he got Bulgaria and Greece,
Bulgaria.
which raises his count by 2.
He lost Sevastopol.
He's got 2 on Warsaw.
Oh, boy, yes he does. England could try and hold that against him.
Maybe.
It depends how annoyed Germany is with him about what he's done in the north.
Yep, we'll see.
Yeah, should we just skip on to the autumn and then try and do some calculations on who might be ahead?
Maybe.
Yep. Should we go to the autumn or should we keep looking at this one?
Yeah, autumn. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Autumn 1909.
Wow. That went well for the Austrian. Look at that.
England supports Austria into autumn? What are you doing? You have to win this game, you know. You can't just give the board leading the centres. That's not.
Yeah, but Germany's attacking England too, right? Germany's not pushing against Austria either. So as a result, he just said, Germany, if you're going to attack me and make sure I can't win the game, you're not going to win this game either.
But Germany didn't have a chance of winning anyway. Germany couldn't expand anywhere because of his lack of fleets.
Yeah, but like England couldn't win either, I guess. And so England just saying, all right, screw it.
I think England, he maybe had a shot.
All right, and well, here, actually, France took Belgium. France did take Belgium from the German.
Yes, he did. So France is getting very, very close.
And he's in Tyrolia, so... All right. Let's do some dot counting, shall we?
Austria did manage to take back Sevastopol again, so Austria's huge, and I think Austria's at the widest he can get, except for maybe taking Moscow.
Moscow seems pretty easy. He's probably if he takes Moscow, he probably loses Sev. But he's also in the Ionian.
Move. Why would you do that?
So
it is a screw you move to Germany. That's just what it feels like, and I really don't like that. I think that he's playing for the best position instead of first place, or the best chance at a higher position.
All right, so yeah, Austria's on 10, which I think will be enough to do it.
All right, so France with this has put himself...
Because France is on 8, I believe.
8, yeah, with Belgium. France did push into Tyrolia, which I think is the absolute right move. You need to try and disrupt that Austrian as much as possible.
But it doesn't matter because Austria got 2 builds.
Yeah. What
So
else
I
can
think-
France do? What else can France take?
So France can take Holland,
Can he? Only with
If-
English support.
or if Germany helps him.
Well, yeah, but is Germany gonna give? Germany might try and give the win.
Germany's
here,
pretty
given-
pissed at England, I think.
And
So
he'll
maybe
be
Germany's
annoyed
gonna-
at Austria maybe as well for taking Warsaw off of him.
Maybe. So I could see him saying, "Hey, you know what, France? Here you go. Try to win the game, buddy."
Mm.
I could see that. These types of things frequently happen in the ends of high stakes final games. Like things like this happen in the finals of World Cup games pretty frequently.
Yes, if you
So-
don't have a chance of winning, you can support your favorite candidate to win.
Yeah, the guy that you think played the best game or whatever. So
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see Germany support France into Holland and Kiel from here.
I wouldn't like that to happen. I think Austria's played clearly the best game, or at least for the end game.
I could see that too, but
And
he also wasn't working too much with Germany throughout this game.
just
Maybe he was.
wonder what he said to England to get Moscow to support him.
Hey, I have a daughter. She's 23 and she's blonde and a nymphomaniac, and I can introduce you.
Right.
That might have done it. But outside of that, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that it would be great to read the AAR about, especially England's AAR, because there's very possibly some reasoning behind this that we're not getting at all.
Sure.
But yeah, it doesn't make
Oh, wait
sense
a
to
minute.
me.
One thing about France. France could potentially take Munich, right?
They could, but that comes at the cost of not being able to disrupt Austria. Although I
think-
suppose his disrupting of Austria isn't going to help because Austria's got a ton of builds here. So Munich is an option. Yeah, this is maybe not as sold as we thought it would be.
I think it's still pretty cold though. Like, is
I
Austria gonna
think-
lose?
Yeah, power rankings: Austria, then France. That's
Austria, France,
That's-
nobody else matters.
Yep.
All right.
all right. So
Let's see the tactics, boys.
Winter 1909 first, which is we get those 2 Austrian armies up top. French army Marseille, that's perfectly reasonable, trying
Yeah.
to
Optimal,
maybe
of course.
disrupt Venice a bit, or
Yeah, mess with Piedmont.
Fleet London, yep, that's reasonable too. Try and push France out of the English Channel, or at least whole England. It doesn't really matter at this point. You've only got a year left. So, yeah.
All right.
And Holland gets disbanded, so maybe we are going to see what you talked about with the attempt to throw to France. We'll
Sure. So
let's move.
if
to...
Germany throws to France,
Mhm.
then France takes Munich. Ruhr supports Belgium to Holland, and then Picardy goes to Belgium, and Burgundy supports Picardy to Belgium, and Munich vacates, and Tyrolia messes around and retreats into Munich. Maybe Tyrolia supports Marseille to Piedmont. If Germany is throwing.
Yep.
And I think that'll do it because France will get Holland, Munich, and Berlin. Yeah. Yes. France would get, or no, because England can get into the Helgoland Bight.
So
So
would England
maybe
be
not
supporting
Holland.
France's bid? I think England would be more likely to support Austria's bid for the win in this scenario, just because Austria's not done anything to him.
Sure. So in that case, Moscow can support hold Warsaw.
Or Moscow. Yeah, actually, yes. Ideally.
Or Sevastopol. I suppose it doesn't matter which.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a
All
close
right.
finish. I think
Yeah, and that's assuming Germany
it is
throws. If Germany
assuming
decides
Germany throws.
to just let Austria win, then Austria wins.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Next round.
Nope. All right. Austria's got this.
Spring
Germany's not
1910.
throwing.
Yeah, Germany's not
And
throwing.
England supported in Warsaw. Look at that.
France does get into Munich, and France gets into Holland. So regardless of
France does not
they
get
do
into Munich, right?
they do get into Munich because Munich moved up to Kiel to try and stop.
Oh,
England
Munich
getting
moved to Kiel. Oh, excuse me. I thought Munich held. No, you're right.
Okay.
Of course.
England's support holding Warsaw is showing that, yes, I think England did that to try and give Austria the win over France, potentially. Maybe
Yeah.
England had already decided his chances were too low for it to be
he's
worthwhile.
not beating France like this, so...
Yeah. So, what
All
have
right.
we got here? France did get the extra 2 centres there, so... And if he can hold them, he might not be able to hold them, but if he can, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How much does Austria have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 10, isn't it?
I had Austria at 10.
Yeah.
And Austria is not losing anything here.
So they have the same centre on there then, right? And who is higher up on the standings between those two?
France.
Oh boy, maybe we do have a French winner. Potentially, this is if Austria gain anything. They can gain Moscow.
Yes, and if England is throwing, he can get Moscow. But can he get Moscow and yes, he's in Romania now. Romania supports Sevastopol.
Yes, but then he loses Warsaw. It really depends.
Maybe Rome. He has 2 on Rome. But Naples supports Rome. Ionian moves to Tunis.
Yeah, Naples support Rome just makes it impossible to take.
Yeah, and Ionian moves to Tunis still.
Maybe France does
nothing
have
in the south.
I think it depends on whether there's 2 factors.
What about
here.
Holland? Wait, hold up. Can England retake Holland? I think England can. English Channel cuts Belgium. Denmark cuts Kiel. North Sea supports Helgoland to Holland.
Oh yes.
No, there's still a Ruhr.
Would Ruhr support hold Holland though? I don't know if Germany's
throwing.
Yeah,
we'll see. If Germany is throwing, France wins on a tiebreaker, and if Germany is not, Austria wins.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
All right.
Well, it depends whether Moscow can be given successfully or not.
It cannot.
It depends
if
whether
Germany
Turkey...
attacks Warsaw from Livonia, and if Turkey attacks Sevastopol.
Yeah. Well, no, because Sweden has moved into Baltic, so it could cut one of Prussia or Livonia, and...
okay, so if Sweden attacks Prussia, St. Petersburg supports Moscow into Livonia, then Ukraine can take Moscow, and Romania supports Sevastopol.
Yep.
That would do it. That would do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see if he does that. Shall we move on to the final phase of the game? Autumn 1910. This is the final game stage, everyone. And we have got that successful move into Moscow. But
at the cost of
from Sevastopol.
And the Turkey...
But Germany didn't throw. Germany went back into Munich with Austrian support.
Sure, and he took Holland, and England took Holland, so that's it.
That's it. All right. That's Austria's game, right?
Austria won, France too. Well played.
Austria just messing around with a bunch of orders here because he knows it doesn't matter.
None of the units matter, right? He put the orders that mattered, and everything else was obnoxious convoys.
Yep. How much does England end on here as a question? We've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. England got to 10 as well, right?
What?
No, he got to 9 because he lost Moscow.
Yeah, he's on 9. Wait, did he tie with France? No,
And
France lost a lot actually
I
because he lost
think he
community in
was.
Holland.
I think he was in with a shot of winning. Maybe if he'd have managed to pull this kind of thing off without giving Austria Warsaw. But maybe he would have lost Moscow in that case. I suppose we'll.
All this goes back to Turkey helping England into Moscow.
Yes.
If Turkey had let Russia stay alive with Moscow and Warsaw just holding, that whole dynamic changes.
Yep. Just to clear all these orders off the map because they don't matter all that much. Apart from the. No, yeah, they don't matter much at all. We can go across to winter and show the actual end of the game here. So, winter 1910. This is the end of the game, and you can see. I think your winner is Austria. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, we can actually
10.
cheat now. We can look at the bottom of the thing, and we can actually see the center count. We don't have to be manually counting anymore.
Manager away from where it's been hiding
Hey,
things.
all right.
England have
We did it.
Yeah.
We actually guessed it properly.
England was so close. I mean, we thought that England didn't have the potential to take these centres without working with France, and they managed to. So props for that.
Yeah, I mean, they worked with France for a turn, and then he just stabbed him, as is tradition.
Yeah, do we count that as you winning your your thing or not?
I absolutely count that as me winning my thing, but
all right.
Maybe we shouldn't.
But yeah, France ends on 8 despite a very spirited push at the end there, and very nearly winning if Germany has decided that he should have won.
Yep.
We've got Turkey, who managed to hold out for holdouts in Turkey, managed to reclaim Sevastopol and get Rome at the end, but didn't really have a shot at the win for most of the end game. And then you've got Germany surviving there on 2 centres. He got knocked down from...
He lost a lot that last turn.
That's a problem with being in the middle in the end of these 10-year games. You have to have a solid position, otherwise you just get crushed by the dotters. But in this case, it was also just due to him not having fleets. He never had options of people to attack. And they all had options to attack him. So massive congratulations to whoever Austria was. Do you still have that list?
Austria was played by Powa.
Powa, yes. This is not someone I've heard of. I think they were either one of the people from Backstabber or one of the people from Conspiracy originally. But yeah, fantastic play to them, and well-deserved victory there.
Lots of fantastic plays, very solid tactics in the early game, good negotiations, convincing his enemies to attack each other, and he sat there and capitalized. He got knocked down, he lost 2 of his home centers to a solid Italian stab, and he fought on and got there.
Yep, it's news that even if the Italian stabs you right at the start and Russia and Turkey are both on your border there, you can still come back. You can still pull it off. It's a real testament to that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it is. Congratulations. And
I think we made this happen at about the time we were planning on, right? This took about 3 hours.
Took about 3 hours. We were planning on 2.5, I think, but
I think
3 is absolutely
adding a half hour for our second commentary is well within the realm of acceptable, I'd say.
I should say, just like our commentary has been harsh at points, but I'd say this was a game with mostly fantastic play from every player.
This was a really, really high level game. I think everyone played. Russia is the one who I have the most questions for after the fact, but there's not me wanting to lecture him. I want to know what he was thinking, because he did a lot of things that were interesting that I don't normally see, which my instinct is to say they're bad, but I cannot say that most of what he did was bad. Like, I can't... like, the move to Finland perhaps that's what got him Sweden, and maybe if it was in the Baltic or Bothnia, he wouldn't have ended up in Sweden. I can't definitively say that. Like his fleet in St. Petersburg North Coast that we were all concerned about, the Austrian stab never materialized. And that fleet in the north coast of St. Petersburg ended up in the Norwegian Sea, and it kept him. Maybe it got Germany to work with him against England again. Every play that I was concerned about ended up looking beautiful throughout this game, which is a sign of really, really good players.
Yep. I'd say it's maybe due to the time constraints on face-to-face, but we saw a lot better play across the board here than we did in the actual World Championship game last year. But again, that's possibly due to the fact that we're looking specifically at the tactics here, and these players have, I think, 24 hours, it might be 36 hours per phase to decide on their orders, whereas people in the World Championships have 15 minutes.
And that's 15 minutes for negotiations as well as the actual tactical analysis.
Yeah.
So the time constraints are very harsh in face-to-face, whereas in online, non-live play, you can think about your moves a lot more.
But still, fantastic play, and congratulations to all the players for making the top board in the first place and for putting on this...
Definitely an accomplishment, absolutely.
This fantastic show of a game. I did love the amount of flipping in it, I have to say.
What we need to do is we need to have some sound effects. We need to have the Freddie Hill sound effect for when things go crazy, and we need to just have a merry-go-round. Because, oh my god.
Well, you can always make a sound effect with your voice if you wanted to. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there because we're nearly hitting the 3-hour mark. It's been fantastic doing this commentary, and yeah, massive thanks to Ezio as well for doing it with me.
Yeah, thanks for organizing it. Thanks for hosting the channel and doing all of the editing work that goes into it. I know we spend so much time cutting out all of the chaff that we go through with these podcasts.
I spent so much time just clicking the move from Twitch to YouTube. Yeah.
Maybe we should cut that last bit out. Yeah, we're gonna move it in post.
And finally, I really, really recommend joining the Nexus Discord server if you haven't. DiplomacyNexus.com. There is a big red button at the top that lets you join that server. The way it works throughout the year, well, right now the season's just ended, so it's not on anymore. But throughout the year, you'll have games on any site you want it, pretty much. If you can find enough other players who want to play on that site, they will set up games there for you. So it's a cross-site community. It probably does that better than any other place I've seen. And I want to give a massive thanks to Ajax for running that. I've been keeping an eye on it since it started because it looked like a great project to me, and it's blown my expectations out of the water. Yeah, so that's... And if you want to hear more from Ajax, I think he's going to be in a Diplomacy Games podcast shortly, so keep an eye out for that.
One second. Something we missed earlier, the alliteration. Someone had a good answer.
Oh.
Austrian armies always achieve an Archduke's amazing amplifications.
Bloody hell, that's
a
really good one.
Oh man.
So I was just assuming one word. That was
Jesus.
Right. So whoever did that, congratulations to you as well.
Langen. Alright. Good way to close this off.
Yes. This is CaptainMeme, and I've been here with Ezio, and this is us signing off.
Marcus and Marcus, the dream team.
Marcus and Marcus, yes. Alright, see you.